"You disgusting liar! How dare you show your face here!" The woman's scream pierced through the corporate lobby like a knife. Her manicured hand flew across the space, connecting with flesh in a sharp crack that made everyone freeze. I stood there, flowers falling from my grip, watching a stranger slap my husband across the face. "Margaret, please!" David stumbled backward, his cheek blazing red. "Don't you Margaret me, wife! Wife! You told me she was dead!" My knees buckled. The receptionist gasped. Security moved forward, and all I could think was, who is Margaret? And why does she think she's married to my husband? Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and stay until the very end of my story. Comment which city you're watching from so I can see how far my story has traveled. You won't believe what happens next. I had been married to David Harrison for 32 years. 32 years of breakfast together, of shared dreams, of building a life that felt solid as granite. That morning I woke up feeling grateful. Grateful for a husband who still kissed me goodbye every morning, who called me during his lunch breaks, who made me feel seen even after 3 decades together. "I'll be home late tonight, sweetheart," David had said that morning, adjusting his tie in our bedroom mirror. "Big presentation for the Jensen account." Again, I had teased, walking over to straighten his collar. "That's the 3rd time this week." He had kissed my forehead, that familiar gesture that still made my heart flutter. I know. But once this deal closes, I promise we'll take that trip to Cape Cod you've been wanting." I had watched him drive away in his silver Lexus, the same car we'd bought together 5 years ago when he made partner at Morrison & Associates. I had no reason to doubt him, no reason to question, no reason to feel the strange flutter of unease that had been growing in my chest for months. But that unease had been there, hadn't it? Small things. Tiny shifts in routine, the way he'd started taking his phone into the bathroom, how he'd changed his laptop password without mentioning it, the new cologne I hadn't bought him, the gym membership he suddenly needed at 58 years old. Then there was last Tuesday. I had been folding laundry when I found a receipt in his pants pocket. Dinner at Marcello's, that expensive Italian place downtown, $247. I had stared at that receipt for 10 minutes, my hands shaking. We hadn't been to Marcello's together. Not recently. Not ever, actually. It was too expensive for our usual date nights. "You're being paranoid, Linda," I had told myself, shoving the receipt back into his pocket. Maybe it was a business dinner. Maybe he's planning a surprise. But the unease had grown, bloomed, festered. That afternoon I had decided to do something spontaneous, something to recapture that spark we'd been missing. I would surprise him at work with his favorite meal from Antonio's, that Italian place where we'd had our first date in 1991. I had dressed carefully, wearing the blue dress he always said brought out my eyes. I had even stopped by the florist for sunflowers, his favorite. The whole drive into the city, I had rehearsed what I would say. Something light, something romantic. Maybe we could steal away for a quick dinner, just the 2 of us. The Morrison & Associates building loomed ahead, and I pulled into the parking garage. That's when I saw it, David's silver Lexus in his reserved spot. But there was something on the passenger seat. A woman's scarf, red silk with gold trim. I had never owned a red scarf in my life. My hands had gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. A scarf, just a scarf. Could have been from a colleague who needed a ride. Could have been forgotten by Sarah or Emily months ago. But I knew. Deep in my gut, I knew. I had gotten out of my car, the sunflowers suddenly feeling heavy in my arms, and walked toward the elevator. Each step felt like I was walking towards something I couldn't take back. Once I knew, I couldn't unknow. Once I saw, I couldn't unsee. The elevator ride up felt like an eternity. My reflection stared back at me from the polished steel doors. 57 years old, gray streaks in my brown hair that I'd been meaning to color, fine lines around my eyes from decades of smiling. When had I stopped being beautiful to him? When had I become invisible? The doors opened onto the marble lobby, all gleaming and corporate and successful. I had been here dozens of times over the years. Christmas parties, retirement dinners, celebration lunches when David made partner. The security guard Tom usually waved me through with a smile. But Tom wasn't at the desk. A younger man sat there, someone I didn't recognize. Early 20s, probably fresh out of college, with that eager-to-please expression that hadn't been beaten down by years of corporate politics yet. "Good afternoon," I had said brightly, juggling the flowers and the bag of food. "I'm here to see David Harrison. I'm his wife, Linda." The young guard had looked up from his computer, his expression polite but confused. He had typed something, frowned, typed again. "David Harrison, you said—" "Yes, he's a partner here, 14th floor. I wanted to surprise him." The guard's frown had deepened. "Ma'am, I show that Mrs. Harrison signed in about 20 minutes ago. She went up to the 14th floor." The world had stopped spinning. Actually stopped. I could feel it, the sudden halt of everything, like God himself had pressed pause on my life. "I'm sorry, what—" "Mrs. Harrison. Margaret Harrison. She's a regular visitor, always very pleasant. She just—" There must be some mistake. My voice sounded strange, like it was coming from underwater. "I'm Mrs. Harrison, Linda Harrison. I've been married to David for 32 years. The guard's face had gone pale. His eyes darted from his computer screen to my face and back again. "Ma'am, I don't know what to tell you. I have Margaret Harrison in the system as Mr. Harrison's wife. She's been visiting for years." Years. The word echoed in my head. Years. "Show me." I had dropped the sunflowers on his desk, not caring as water sloshed from the wrapping onto his papers. "Show me the visitor log." He had turned his monitor, his hands shaking slightly. And there it was. Margaret Harrison. Dozens of entries, going back and back and back, 3 years of logged visits, every few weeks, sometimes weekly. I had grabbed the edge of the desk to steady myself. The lobby had started to tilt the expensive marble floor, rushing up to meet me. "Ma'am, are you okay? Should I call someone?" "Call someone?" I had laughed, a harsh sound that didn't belong in this pristine corporate space. "Who would you call my husband? He's apparently upstairs with his other wife." That's when I heard her voice, sharp, cultured, angry. Excuse me, that man needs to be stopped." I had turned, moving in slow motion, and saw her. A woman about my age, maybe a few years younger, maybe better preserved, impeccably dressed in a cream Chanel suit that probably cost more than my car payment. Her hair was that perfect shade of blonde that doesn't occur in nature, styled in a sleek bob that screamed expensive salon. Her makeup was flawless. She looked like she belonged in this building, like she owned it. And she was pointing at someone emerging from the elevators with a panicked expression. David, my David. Our eyes had met across the lobby. I watched the color drain from his face, watched his mouth open and close like a fish drowning in air, watched him look from me to her and back again. "Margaret, what are you doing here?" His voice came out strangled, desperate. "What am I doing here? What am I doing here?" The woman's voice rose to a shriek that made everyone in the lobby freeze. "You canceled our lunch today, said you had an emergency meeting, and then Jessica from accounting calls me to gossip about seeing you with some woman in the parking garage." Some woman. I was some woman. "Margaret, this isn't the place. Don't you dare tell me what the place is. Don't you dare." She had advanced on him, her heels clicking on the marble like gunshots. "Who was in your car, David? Who was the woman Jessica saw?" David had held up his hands, placating, desperate. "Margaret, please, lower your voice. We can talk about this in my office." "I don't want to talk in your office. I want answers now." That's when she had seen me, really seen me. Her eyes had traveled from my face to the flowers scattered on the security desk, to the bag from Antonio's still clutched in my hands, then back to my face. We had stared at each other, this woman and I saw my own confusion reflected in her eyes. "Who is this?" she had demanded, turning on David. He had opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. No sound came out. I had never seen David speechless before, not in 32 years. He always had words, always had explanations, always had that smooth, reasonable tone that could talk his way out of anything. But not now. Now he just stood there, trapped between his two worlds. "I'm Linda." I had heard myself say, my voice sounding far away like it belonged to someone else. "Linda Harrison, David's wife." The silence that followed was absolute. Even the fountain in the lobby seemed to stop flowing. The security guard had stood up behind his desk. A woman getting off the elevator had frozen mid-step. A man on his phone had lowered it, staring. Margaret's face had transformed. Confusion to comprehension to fury in the space of a single heartbeat. That's when she had lunged forward and slapped him. The crack echoed through the lobby like a gunshot. David's head had snapped to the side and a red mark immediately bloomed on his cheek. "You told me she was dead," Margaret had screamed, and the words hit me like a physical blow. "You told me she died of cancer 6 years ago. You showed me her obituary." The flowers I was still somehow holding slipped from my grip. Sunflowers scattered across the pristine marble floor like small suns falling from the sky. I watched them fall and thought absurdly that I had spent $20 on those flowers. "David?" My voice came out as a whisper. "David, what is she talking about?" He had looked at me, then really looked at me, and I saw something I had never seen before in 32 years of marriage. Panic. Pure, undiluted panic. And underneath it, something worse. Guilt. The kind of guilt that comes from being caught, not from being sorry. "Linda, I can explain." "Explain." Margaret had whirled on him, her perfectly styled hair coming loose from its clips. "Explain you're married. You're married." "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to lower your voice," the security guard had said, moving around the desk with the nervous energy of someone in way over their head. "Don't you touch me," Margaret had snapped, pointing a manicured finger at him. "Don't you dare touch me!" She had turned to me then, and I saw tears streaming down her carefully made-up face, leaving dark tracks through her foundation. "How long—" Her voice had dropped to something dangerous, something cold. "What—" I couldn't think, couldn't process. My brain had shut down, refusing to accept what was happening. "How long have you been married to him?" 32 years. The words came out automatically. "We got married June 5th, 1993. I watched the color drain from Margaret's face. She had swayed slightly, reaching out to steady herself against a marble column. Her hand had left a smudge on the polished surface. 32, she had repeated, her voice breaking. "But we've been together for 7 years. 7 years. The number hit me like a physical blow. 7 years. While I was celebrating our 25th anniversary at that restaurant in Portland, David had been building another life. While I was nursing him through his gallbladder surgery, holding his hand, and sleeping in an uncomfortable hospital chair, he had been lying to another woman. While I was planning surprise parties and weekend getaways and believing every single word that came out of his mouth, he had been living a completely separate existence. 7 years, I had repeated numbly. "Margaret, please." David had said, his voice desperate now, cracking at the edges. "Let's go somewhere private and talk about this." Wrong words. Wrong. Absolutely the wrong words. Talk about what? I had found my voice, and it came out stronger than I expected, louder. Talk about how you've been living a double life. Talk about how you told this woman I was dead. Talk about how you've been lying to both of us for 7 years. People were gathering now, employees coming out of offices drawn by the commotion like sharks to blood in the water. I recognized some faces. Janet from accounting, her mouth hanging open. Marcus from legal, his eyes wide. That young associate, what was her name, Rebecca, holding her coffee and staring. People who had smiled at me at company parties. People who had toasted our anniversary last year at the firm's summer picnic. Had they known? Had they all known? The thought made my stomach turn. How many people had been in on this? How many had seen David with Margaret and said nothing? How many had smiled to my face while knowing my entire marriage was a lie? "Did you know?" I had turned to Janet, who was still standing there gaping. "Did you know about her?" Janet's face had flushed red. Mrs. Harrison, Did you know?" My voice rose. "Did all of you know?" The silence was damning. Janet had looked at the floor. Marcus had turned away. Rebecca had suddenly become very interested in her coffee. They knew. They all knew. "Oh my God!" I had felt my legs start to give out. Oh my God, everyone knew. Linda, please. David had taken a step toward me. Don't. I had held up my hand and he had stopped. Don't come near me. Don't say my name. Don't pretend you have any right to talk to me right now. This is a misunderstanding. David had tried, but his voice lacked conviction. He was floundering, drowning, and for the first time in our marriage, I felt no urge to throw him a lifeline. A misunderstanding. Margaret had laughed, a harsh, broken sound that bordered on hysteria. A misunderstanding is forgetting someone's birthday. A misunderstanding is mixing up dinner reservations. This is... She couldn't finish. Neither could I. There wasn't a word big enough for what this was. No single word could encompass the magnitude of this betrayal. Someone called the police, a voice said from the growing crowd. David's head had snapped up, panic flooding his features. No, that's not necessary. This is a personal matter. You're damn right it's personal, Margaret had hissed. She had turned back to me, her eyes blazing with a fury I understood completely. Did you know? Were you part of this? Part of what? I could hear my voice rising, all the shock converting to anger, now hot and righteous and cleansing. I came here to surprise my husband with lunch, and instead I find out he has another wife. I'm not his wife, Margaret had said coldly, and then she had held up her left hand. The ring caught the light and threw rainbows across the marble floor. A massive diamond solitaire, at least 3 carats set in platinum. It was beautiful. It was exactly the kind of ring I had always wanted, but never asked for, because David and I had been young and broke when we got engaged, and I had told him my simple gold band was perfect, was all I needed. But apparently it wasn't all he wanted to give, just not to me. We're engaged, Margaret had said, her voice shaking. We're getting married in 3 months. The invitations are already printed. The ground opened beneath my feet. Married. He was planning to marry her, while married to me. That was bigamy. That was illegal. That was... When did he propose? I heard myself ask, my voice sounding dead, even to my own ears. Last Christmas. We were in Aspen. Margaret's voice had broken. He took me skiing. Proposed on the top of the mountain. It was perfect. Last Christmas, when he had told me he was at a mandatory work retreat in Denver, when I had spent Christmas Eve alone eating Chinese food and watching old movies, telling myself it was fine, he'd make it up to me, when I had called him and he'd sounded rushed, distracted, said he had to go to a dinner meeting. He had been in Aspen, proposing to another woman. The retreat, I had whispered. There was no retreat. David had closed his eyes. That was answer enough. I spent Christmas alone. The words came out flat. I ate leftover Chinese food and watched It's a Wonderful Life by myself because you were supposedly in Denver for work, but you were in Aspen, proposing to her. Linda, don't. I had held up my hand again. Don't say my name. Don't say anything. Ma'am, the police are here, the security guard had said quietly. 2 uniformed officers entered the lobby, their expressions cautious but alert. The older one, a woman with gray streaks in her dark hair pulled back in a tight bun, assessed the situation quickly with the practiced eye of someone who had seen this kind of domestic drama before. What seems to be the problem here? Everyone started talking at once. Margaret, her voice high and hysterical, me trying to explain something I didn't understand, David attempting damage control, the security guard reading from his log. It was chaos, a cacophony of accusations and explanations and denials that bounced off the marble walls and mixed into an incomprehensible mess. One at a time, the officer had said firmly, her voice cutting through the noise like a blade. She had looked at me, really looked at me, and I saw something in her eyes. Recognition, maybe. Understanding. She had probably seen this before. Ma'am, are you all right? Was I all right? The question seemed absurd, laughable. My husband of 32 years had another woman, a fiancée, a whole other life complete with Aspen vacations and 3-carat diamonds and Christmas proposals on mountaintops. Was I all right? No. I had said simply, honestly, I'm not all right. The officer had nodded, understanding in her eyes. Professional sympathy. She had probably been trained in this, how to handle domestic situations, how to separate the parties, how to de-escalate. She had turned to David. Sir, are you married to this woman? She indicated me with a slight movement of her head. Yes, but, and are you engaged to this woman? She indicated Margaret. David's silence was answer enough. The officer's expression had hardened. Jesus Christ, she had muttered under her breath. She had looked at her partner, a younger man who looked almost as shocked as I felt. Mike, we're going to need to separate these folks and get statements. Statements? David had sounded panicked again, his voice rising. Is that really necessary? This is a private family matter. Sir, if these allegations are true, we're potentially looking at bigamy fraud and... The officer had glanced at Margaret's ring, misrepresentation with intent to defraud. These are crimes. Crimes. The word hung in the air like a curse. My husband was a criminal. David Harrison, respected partner at Morrison & Associates, father of 2, grandfather of 4, was a criminal. I want to go home, Margaret had said suddenly. And when I looked at her, I saw that her fury had burned out, leaving her looking pale and shaken and somehow smaller. I just want to go home. We'll need your contact information first, ma'am, the officer had said gently, her voice softening. And I'd like to ask you a few questions. I'll tell you whatever you want to know. Margaret had opened her designer purse with shaking hands. I'll tell you everything. That's when David had made his move. In the split second, when everyone's attention was on Margaret digging through her purse, he had turned toward the exit. His movements were quick, decisive, desperate. Sir, stop, the younger officer had called out. But David was already running, actually running through the lobby, his expensive Italian shoes slapping against the marble, his tie flying behind him, running past the fountain, past the gaping employees, past the life he had built on lies. Stop him, Margaret had screamed. The younger officer took off after him. I watched frozen as my husband of 32 years fled from me, from Margaret, from the truth that had finally caught up with him. He burst through the revolving doors, and I could see him on the sun-bright sidewalk outside, people stopping to stare as he ran. He didn't make it far, maybe 20 feet. The officer was younger, faster, and caught up with him just past the entrance. There was a brief scuffle, David trying to pull away, the officer grabbing his arm, and then David was being led back inside, his face red, his breathing labored, his hair messed up for the first time in decades. David Harrison, the older officer said formally, once he was back in the lobby. We need you to answer some questions. You are not under arrest at this time, but I strongly suggest you cooperate. David's eyes found mine across the lobby. In them, I saw pleading desperation, fear. But I saw no remorse. Not yet. Just the fear of being caught, the panic of consequences finally arriving. I looked away first. I couldn't bear to look at him anymore. Ma'am, the officer had said to me, her voice gentle, is there someone I can call for you? A family member? A friend? A family member. Our daughters, Sarah and Emily. Oh God, the girls. How was I going to tell them? What was I going to tell them? How do you explain to your children that their father, the man who taught them to ride bikes and walked them down the aisle and held their babies, has been living a lie for 7 years? My daughter, I had managed. Sarah, she lives in the city. She works. I don't know where she works right now. She changed jobs last month, but I have her number. My hands were shaking so badly I couldn't get my phone out of my purse. The officer had gently taken my purse and retrieved it for me, her movements careful, professional. What's her number? I had rattled it off automatically, the number I called twice a week every week for the past 15 years. Sarah, my practical daughter, my strong daughter, the one who had always been able to handle anything. While the officer made the call, stepping away slightly to give me privacy, I had looked around the lobby. At Margaret crying into her phone, probably calling her own family or friends. At David, pale and trapped, being questioned by the younger officer. At the employees still watching, still filming with their phones. At the sunflowers scattered across the floor, already starting to wilt in the air conditioning. This morning I had been happy, secure, certain of my life and my marriage. Now I was a stranger to myself. Linda! A voice broke through my fog, Sarah's voice from the officer's phone. Mom, what's wrong? The police called me 'cause Sarah. My voice cracked on her name. Sarah, I need you. I'm coming. Mom, I'm coming right now. Are you hurt? Are you safe? Safe. What a strange word. Was I safe physically? Yes, but safe from heartbreak, safe from betrayal, safe from the destruction of everything I thought I knew. I'm not hurt. I had said, because it was the truth technically, no one had hit me. No one had physically harmed me. But Sarah, I need you to come. I'm at your father's office. Dad's office. Mom, what's going on? You're scaring me. How do you say it? How do you put into words something so incomprehensible? Your father has another woman. He's been with her for 7 years. She thought I was dead. I heard Sarah's sharp intake of breath, heard the screech of tires as she presumably pulled over. What, Mom? That's not possible. Dad wouldn't. He did. She's here. She has a ring. They were planning to get married. Oh my God. Mom, where exactly are you? I'm coming right now. The officer had given her the address, had assured her that I was physically fine, had spoken in those calm professional tones that probably helped in these situations. When she hung up, the officer had guided me to a seating area near the windows. From there I could see David being questioned. His hands were moving as he talked, gesturing, explaining. Always explaining. How many explanations had I believed over the years? How many lies had I swallowed, whole, never questioning, never doubting? Can you tell me your full name and date of birth? The officer asked, notebook open, pen ready. Linda Marie Harrison, June 12, 1967. And you're married to David Harrison? Yes, since 1993, June 5, 1993. I could remember the date perfectly, every detail. The white dress I had saved for months to buy, the roses from my father's garden, his vows spoken with tears in his eyes, to have and to hold from this day forward for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do us part. Death hadn't parted us. Lies had. Do you have your marriage certificate? At home, in our safe, along with the girls' birth certificates and our wills and all the important papers. I had laughed a sound that didn't sound like it came from me. We have wills. We planned for death. We didn't plan for this. The officer had waited patiently. She had probably heard worse. Maybe not. Maybe this was particularly bad. How many men kept entire second families secret for 7 years? When did you last suspect something might be wrong? I had thought about it, really thought about it. When had the doubt started? When had the little signs begun adding up? Maybe 6 months ago, small things. He was working late more often, taking calls in other rooms. He changed the password on his laptop and didn't tell me the new one. I found that receipt from Marcello's last week. $247 for dinner. We hadn't been there together. Did you ask him about it? No. Shame washed over me. No, I trusted him. We've been married for 32 years. You don't question everything after that long. Do you? The officer's expression was kind. Most people don't, ma'am. That's not a failing on your part. But it felt like a failing. It felt like I should have known, should have seen, should have questioned more, doubted more, protected myself more. There was this cologne. I had continued the words pouring out now. New cologne that I didn't buy him. When I asked about it, he said one of the younger guys at work had recommended it. I believed him. God, I believed everything. Did you ever follow him? Check his phone? Anything like that? No, never. And I hadn't. The thought had never even occurred to me. I trusted him completely. Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Trust your husband. But maybe trust isn't about blind faith. Maybe there's a difference between trust and willful ignorance. Maybe I should have been paying attention to those small changes, those tiny shifts that added up to a completely different man than the one I thought I married. Across the lobby, Margaret was also being questioned by another officer who had arrived. She looked smaller now, defeated, like someone had let all the air out of her. Her perfect hair was coming undone. Her mascara had run, leaving dark tracks down her carefully made-up face. Her cream Chanel suit had a stain on the sleeve where she had wiped her tears. We were both victims, I realized. Both of us betrayed, Both of us lied to. She thought I was dead, and I thought she didn't exist. David had created two separate worlds and kept them carefully partitioned, never letting them touch, never letting the truth seep through. Until today, until I had decided to surprise him with sunflowers and Antonios and love. "Mrs. Harrison," the officer said, pulling my attention back, "I know this is difficult, but I need to ask you some specific questions about your husband's activities. Can you tell me about his typical schedule?" For the next 20 minutes, I answered questions I never thought I would have to answer. Where did David sleep? Always home with me in our bed, in our house that we had bought together 28 years ago. Where did he spend holidays with me and our daughters and grandchildren? Did he have a separate bank account I didn't know about? That question had stopped me cold. "I don't know. I thought we had joint accounts, but now I don't know anything." The officer had made a note. "We'll look into that. Do you have access to your financial records?" "Yes, I pay the bills. I balance the checkbook. I thought—" I had trailed off. What had I thought? That I knew our finances, that I knew anything. "We'll need you to bring those records to the station. Can you do that?" I had nodded numbly. Our finances. Would I find evidence there? Secret accounts. Unexplained expenses. How deep did this deception go? "One more question and then we can take a break. Did he ever mention Margaret to you? Any Margaret at all?" I had thought back. Margaret. Had there been a Margaret in our lives? Wait, a memory had surfaced. Yes, there was a Margaret. He said she was a client. About 3 years ago, he started mentioning her occasionally. Margaret from the Jensen account. Said she was difficult to work with, very demanding. I remember because I suggested he take her to Marcello's, try to smooth things over with an expensive dinner. The officer had looked up from her notes. "You suggested he take her to dinner." The irony hit me like a slap. I suggested it. I told him to take his client to dinner, butter her up, make nice. And she wasn't a client at all, was she? She was his fiancée. And I told him to take her to Marcello's. I had started laughing, couldn't help it. Laughter bubbled up from somewhere, deep and dark laughter that bordered on hysteria. I had suggested he take his other woman to dinner. I had probably paid for it with our joint checking account. "Mrs. Harrison, I paid for his dates with her," I had gasped out between laughs. "I paid for his other life with our money, didn't I? Every time he took her to dinner, every time he bought her gifts, it came out of our account, and I balanced the checkbook and never questioned it because I trusted him." The laughter had turned to tears. Suddenly, without warning, I was sobbing. Great heaving sobs that came from somewhere primal, somewhere I didn't know existed. The officer had produced tissues from somewhere, had placed a gentle hand on my shoulder, had murmured something soothing that I couldn't quite hear over my own crying. "Linda." I had looked up, tears streaming down my face, to see Sarah running through the lobby, my daughter, my beautiful, capable daughter who had inherited my eyes and her father's determination. Her dark hair was flying behind her, still wearing her work clothes, her face a mask of concern and fury. "Mom." She had dropped to her knees in front of me, taking my hands. Her hands were warm, solid, real. "Mom, are you okay? Tell me what happened." "How do you tell your daughter that her father is a liar, that the man who taught her to ride a bike and walked her down the aisle 3 years ago and held her baby at the hospital just last year has been living a double life? Your father—" I had started, then stopped. The words stuck in my throat, started again. "Sarah, your father he's been with another woman for 7 years. I watched my daughter's face transform. Disbelief, first her eyebrows drawing together, then denial shaking her head, then understanding as her eyes tracked across the lobby to where David stood, then fury, pure and hot and protective. "What?" Her voice came out low, dangerous. "That woman over there, Margaret, she thought I was dead. Your father told her I died of cancer. They're engaged. They were planning to get married in 3 months. Sarah had stood up slowly, her whole body tensing. "Where is he?" "Sarah, don't." But Sarah was already striding across the lobby, her heels clicking on the marble like gunshots. I had struggled to my feet, the officer helping me, and followed. Some part of me knew I should stop her, should protect David from her fury, but a larger part of me wanted to see him face what he had done, wanted to watch him try to explain the inexplicable to his daughter. "Dad," Sarah's voice cut through the murmur of conversations sharp as a blade. "Dad, look at me." David had turned, and I watched his face crumple when he saw his daughter, watched him age 10 years in an instant. "Sarah, sweetheart, don't you sweetheart me." Sarah had gotten right up in his face close enough that he had to look at her, couldn't look away. "Is it true? Have you been cheating on Mom?" "It's complicated," David had said, and I saw him reach for that smooth, reasonable tone he always used, the one that could talk anyone into anything. Wrong answer. Absolutely the wrong answer. "Complicated." Sarah's voice rose, echoing off the marble and glass. "Complicated. You told that woman Mom was dead. You've been living 2 lives. What's complicated about that? You're either faithful or you're not, and you're clearly not." "Sarah, please lower your voice." No, I won't lower my voice." People were staring now, but Sarah didn't care. My quiet, practical daughter had found her rage. How could you do this to her? To us? We trusted you. I trusted you. I came to you for advice about my marriage, about being a good wife, and you've been lying this whole time. That hit him. I saw it land, saw him flinch. "Sarah." "Does Emily know?" "Have you told your other daughter that her father is a fraud?" "Emily. God, Emily. My younger daughter who lived in Boston with her husband and twin boys, who called her father every Sunday for advice, who posted proud photos of them together on Father's Day with captions about having the best dad in the world." "I need to call Emily," I had said, my voice cutting through Sarah's fury. Sarah had turned to me, her anger immediately transforming to concern. "Mom, no, not yet. Not until we figure out what's happening. Let me—" But I was already dialing with shaking fingers. The phone had rung once, twice, 3 times. Please don't answer, I had thought. Please be busy, be in a meeting, be anywhere but available to have her heart broken. "Hey, Mom!" Emily's voice came through bright and cheerful the way it always was. "What's up? I was just about to call you. You won't believe what Aiden did today at preschool." "Emily." I had cut her off, my voice flat dead. "Emily, I need you to sit down." The cheer had died instantly. "Mom, what's wrong? Is everyone okay?" How do you answer that? Everyone was physically fine. No one had died. But okay, no one was okay. "Your father." "Emily, there's been—" I had stopped, unable to find the words. Sarah had gently taken the phone from my hand. It's me. Something's happened with Dad. No, he's not hurt. But can you sit down? Are you sitting?" I had watched my daughter's face as she told her sister, watched her struggle to find the right words, heard Emily's voice through the phone rising, questioning, disbelieving. "I know it sounds insane," Sarah had said quietly. "But it's true. Mom's here. She came to surprise him at work and found out, he's been with another woman for 7 years. She thought Mom was dead." I heard Emily scream through the phone, heard her husband's voice in the background, alarmed, asking what was wrong. Heard Sarah trying to calm her, trying to explain the unexplainable. When Sarah finally hung up, she had looked exhausted. "She's coming. She's getting in the car now. She'll be here in 4 hours." 4 hours. In 4 hours, both my daughters would be here, both of them dealing with the destruction of their family, both of them looking to me for answers I didn't have. "I need some air," I had said suddenly. "I need to get out of here." "Mom, the police need you to—" "I need air. Now." Sarah had looked at the officer who had nodded. "We have enough for now, but Mrs. Harrison, we'll need you to come to the station later to give a formal statement." I had nodded, not really hearing. I just needed out. Out of this lobby with its marble and glass, and the dying sunflowers on the floor, and my husband's lies hanging in the air like smoke. Sarah had guided me toward the exit, her arm around my waist holding me up. As we passed David, he had reached out. "Linda, please." I had stopped, looked at his outstretched hand, looked at his face, at the man I had loved for 32 years, at the stranger wearing my husband's features. "Did you ever love me?" The question came out before I could stop it. In all these years, was any of it real? He had opened his mouth to answer, but I didn't wait to hear it. Didn't want to hear it. Because whatever he said would be another lie, and I had had enough of lies to last a lifetime. Sarah had led me out into the sunshine. It was a beautiful day, warm with a light breeze, the kind of day I would have called perfect this morning. Now it felt like an insult. How dare the sun shine? How dare the world keep turning when mine had stopped? "Where are your keys, Mom?" Sarah had asked gently. I had looked down at my empty hands. Somewhere between the flowers falling and the world ending, I had lost my purse. "I don't know. Inside, I think." "I'll get it. Wait here." She had left me standing on the sidewalk, and for a moment I was alone. Alone with the sun on my face, and the sound of traffic, and the knowledge that everything I thought I knew was wrong. A woman walked by with a baby in a stroller. She was smiling, cooing at the infant, completely absorbed in her own happy world. I had been that woman once, young in love, believing in forever. I had pushed Sarah and Emily in strollers, just like that, had smiled, just like that, had believed that life was good and fair and made sense. When had I stopped being that woman? Or had I never stopped, had just been sleepwalking through a lie? Sarah had returned with my purse, and we walked to her car in silence. As she pulled out of the parking lot, I had looked back at the Morrison & Associates building one last time. Somewhere in there, David was still explaining himself to the police. Somewhere in there, Margaret was still processing the same betrayal I was. Somewhere in there, employees were already texting their friends and family about the drama they had witnessed about the partner's wife showing up and finding out about the partner's fiancé. And somewhere in there, the sunflowers I had bought with love and hope lay scattered on the floor, forgotten and dying. "Mom," Sarah had said quietly as we drove, "we're going to get through this." I had reached over and squeezed her hand. My daughter, my anchor, my proof that something good had come from this marriage, even if the marriage itself was a lie. "I know," I had said, even though I didn't, even though I had no idea how anyone got through something like this. But I would learn. God help me, I would learn. Because the story wasn't over, not even close. This was just the beginning. Just the first crack in a dam that was about to burst. And I had a feeling that before this was done, there would be more revelations, more betrayals, more truths I didn't want to know. David Harrison had built a house of cards, and it was finally falling down. The question was, what else would fall with it? What other secrets was he hiding? What other lies was I about to uncover? I thought about the red scarf in his car, about the receipt from Marcello's, about the new cologne and the changed passwords and all the little signs I had ignored. What else had I missed? What else was I about to learn? "Sarah," I had said as we drove toward the police station, "I need to see our bank statements, all of them, and credit card statements, everything." Sarah had glanced at me, understanding in her eyes. "You think there's more?" "I know there's more. 7 years, Sarah. You don't hide a whole other life for 7 years without... There has to be more. Money, evidence, something." "We'll find it," Sarah had said grimly. "Whatever it is, we'll find it." And we would, because I was done being blind, done trusting, done believing that my husband was the man I thought he was. Linda Harrison, devoted wife, was dead. Margaret had been right about that at least. The woman I had been this morning, the woman who believed in her marriage and trusted her husband, was gone. But someone new was being born. Someone harder, someone who demanded truth, someone who would not rest until she knew everything, every lie, every betrayal, every moment of deception. David Harrison had no idea what was coming, but he would learn. We all would. The police station smelled like burnt coffee and old paperwork. Sarah had kept her hand on my back the entire walk from the parking lot, guiding me through glass doors and fluorescent hallways like I was an invalid. Maybe I was. Maybe discovering your entire marriage is a fraud makes you an invalid. "Mrs. Harrison." A detective approached us, his badge clipped to his belt. Mid-40s, tired eyes, wedding ring on his left hand. I wondered if his wife knew where he was right now. I wondered if she trusted him. "I'm Detective Morris. I'll be taking your statement." Statement. The word felt foreign in my mouth, like I'm a witness to a crime. "You are a witness, ma'am. You're also a victim." Victim. Another word I had never associated with myself. Linda Harrison, victim. It didn't fit. It felt like a coat 3 sizes too big, hanging awkwardly on shoulders that weren't built for it. He led us to a small room with a metal table and plastic chairs. Sarah sat beside me, her phone buzzing constantly. Probably work. Probably her husband Mark asking what was going on. Probably the world continuing to turn, even though mine had stopped. "Can you walk me through what happened today from the beginning?" Detective Morris clicked his pen poised over a notepad. I opened my mouth to start, but Sarah's phone rang. She looked at the screen and went pale. "It's Dad." My stomach lurched. "Don't answer it." "Mom, don't answer it." Sarah sent it to voicemail. 10 seconds later, it rang again. Then again. On the 4th call, she turned the phone off completely. "He's probably trying to explain," I said bitterly. "That's what he does. He explains. He's very good at explaining." Detective Morris watched this exchange with professional neutrality. "Mrs. Harrison, let's start with this morning. What time did your husband leave for work?" 7:30, like always. He kissed me goodbye, like always. He told me he'd be late because of the Jensen account presentation, like always. My voice was rising. Everything was like always, except it was all a lie. "Did he seem nervous? Distracted?" "No, he seemed like David, like my husband, like the man I've known for 32 years. I laughed that harsh sound I was starting to recognize as my new normal. "But I don't know him at all, do I?" Sarah squeezed my hand. Her grip was too tight, almost painful, but I needed it. Needed something real to hold on to. "Tell me about Margaret," Detective Morris said. "I don't know anything about Margaret. Until 2 hours ago, I didn't know she existed." "Your husband never mentioned her." "He did, actually." The memory hit me fresh, sharp as glass. "He said she was a client, difficult, demanding. I told him to take her to dinner, smooth things over. I probably paid for it." Detective Morris made a note. "Did you have joint bank accounts?" "Yes, I thought so. I balanced the checkbook every month. I paid the bills. I thought I knew where every penny went." I paused. "But I thought a lot of things that turned out to be wrong. We'll need access to those accounts, bank statements, credit cards, everything." "Sarah, my purse." I fumbled for my wallet, pulled out cards. Checking account, savings, 2 credit cards. "It's all here. Everything's here. Or is it, maybe he has other accounts, other cards, other lives I don't know about?" "Mom, breathe." Sarah's voice cut through my spiral. "Just breathe." But breathing hurt. Everything hurt. Detective Morris took photos of the cards, wrote down account numbers. "We'll start with these. Mrs. Harrison, I need to ask you something difficult. Did your husband ever hit you? Threaten you? Anything that might constitute abuse?" "No, never. He was—" I stopped. What was he? He was kind, attentive. He brought me flowers. He remembered anniversaries. He was a good husband. Except for the other woman. Except for that. The detective's radio crackled. He listened, then looked at me. "They've brought your husband to the station. He's being questioned in another room. Would you like to see him?" "No." The word came out fast, sharp. "Absolutely not." "You might need to eventually. For the investigation. Then eventually. But not now. Not yet." Sarah's phone buzzed with a text. She had turned it back on. "It's Emily. She's making good time. She'll be here in 3 hours." 3 hours. Then both my daughters would be here, both of them dealing with their father's betrayal, both of them watching their mother fall apart. "Mrs. Harrison, did your husband travel frequently for work?" The question jerked me back. "Yes, once a month, sometimes more. Denver mostly, sometimes Chicago. He said it was for clients. Was it? I don't know. I don't know anything anymore." Detective Morris made another note. We'll check with his firm, verify his travel records. If he was lying about locations, he was with her. The realization hit like a freight train. All those trips. He wasn't in Denver. He was with Margaret. Oh God, where did they go? What did they do? Did he take her to places we went together? Did he? Mom, stop. Sarah's voice was firm. Don't do this to yourself. But I couldn't stop. The images were flooding in now, unstoppable. David and Margaret in hotel rooms, David and Margaret at restaurants, David and Margaret living the life I thought was ours. Last year, I said suddenly, he went to San Francisco for a week, said it was a big merger deal. I packed his bag, I ironed his shirts, I kissed him goodbye at the airport. I looked at Detective Morris. Was that real? Was there really a merger deal? We'll find out. A knock on the door interrupted us. A young officer poked her head in. Detective, we've got the preliminary on the financials. You need to see this. Detective Morris stood. Excuse me for a moment. He left, and Sarah and I sat in silence. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Somewhere down the hall, someone was crying. Another life imploding, probably. Another person discovering that the world wasn't what they thought. Mom, Sarah said quietly, whatever they found, we'll deal with it. What if it's worse? What if there's more? Then we'll deal with that too. But I could see the fear in her eyes. She was thinking the same thing I was. 7 years is a long time. Long enough to build entire lives. Long enough to hide mountains of secrets. Detective Morris returned his expression grim. He sat down, opened a folder, and looked at me with something like pity. Mrs. Harrison, we pulled your husband's financial records. There are some irregularities. Irregularities. Such a polite word for devastation. Tell me. There's a second account. In his name only. It's been active for 8 years. 8 years? One more than I thought. How much? Currently about $40,000, but the transaction history shows regular deposits and withdrawals. Large amounts. I felt dizzy. $40,000. Where did he get $40,000? That's what we're trying to determine. Your joint account shows no transfers to this account, which means the money came from somewhere else. Another job, Sarah suggested. Secret income. Possibly. Or... Detective Morris hesitated. Or what? I demanded. Or embezzlement. Fraud. We're checking with his firm now. The room tilted. You think he stole money? We don't know yet. But Mrs. Harrison, there's more. We found credit cards you didn't know about, 3 of them, all maxed out. Maxed out how much? Combined about $80,000 in debt. The number hit me like a physical blow. $80,000. We had savings. We had a retirement fund. We were responsible. We were careful. Except we weren't. David wasn't. What did he spend it on? My voice came out as a whisper. Detective Morris slid papers across the table. Credit card statements, pages and pages of charges. Hotels, restaurants, jewelry stores, travel agencies. Her, I said flatly. He spent it on her. Most likely, yes. I looked at the statements, at the numbers that added up to betrayal. $5,000 at Tiffany's. That was probably Margaret's ring. $3,000 at some spa resort. Probably a weekend getaway. $800 at that French restaurant downtown, the one I had always wanted to try, but David said was too expensive. Too expensive for me. Not for her. Mom, don't look at those. Sarah tried to take the papers away. No. I held on tight. I need to see. I need to know all of it. There was a charge from a hotel in the Bahamas. January 2 years ago. When David told me he had to work through my birthday because of an emergency at the firm. When I spent my 55th birthday alone eating grocery store cake and telling myself it was fine, he'd make it up to me. He was in the Bahamas, I said numbly. On my birthday. With her. Sarah made a sound like she'd been punched. Dad said he was working. He lied. He lied about everything. Detective Morris cleared his throat. Mrs. Harrison, I need to inform you that this level of debt could impact you legally. Massachusetts is not a community property state, but depending on when these cards were opened. Am I responsible for his debt? The question came out sharp. Potentially. We'll need a lawyer to determine that. A lawyer, of course. This wasn't just heartbreak. This was legal. This was financial ruin. This was everything. How? I asked. How did he hide all this? I saw the bills. I balanced the checkbook every month. The statements for these cards went to a different address. A P.O. box we're trying to track down. A P.O. box. Another secret. How many did he have? How many hidden places, hidden accounts, hidden lives? There's something else. Detective Morris pulled out another paper. We found a lease agreement for an apartment. The air left my lungs. An apartment. In the North End, 2-bedroom. He's been renting it for 6 years. 6 years. An apartment for 6 years. She lived there. Margaret lived there. Most likely. The lease is in his name, but neighbors report seeing a woman there regularly. I thought about our house. The house we bought together. The house where we raised our daughters. The house I thought was our home. And all that time he had another home, another place, another life. I want to see it. The words came out before I could think them through. Mom, that's not a good idea, Sarah said quickly. I don't care. I want to see it. I need to see where he lived with her. Detective Morris shook his head. It's an active investigation. We can't let you... It's my husband's apartment. His name is on the lease. I have a right. Legally, you don't. Not yet. But Mrs. Harrison, trust me, you don't want to see it. You don't want those images in your head. But I already had images in my head. Might as well make them real. Might as well see the truth instead of imagining it. How big is the debt total? Sarah asked, her voice shaking. Everything together. Detective Morris looked down at his notes. With the maxed credit cards, the second account, and some personal loans we found, approximately $120,000. $120,000. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Our retirement fund was $200,000. We'd been saving for 30 years, and he'd spent more than half of it on another woman. Does she know? I asked. Margaret. Does she know about the debt? We haven't questioned her about finances yet, but I doubt it. From what we can tell, he kept the two lives completely separate. Until today. Until today. My phone rang. I looked at the screen. David. I sent it to voicemail. It rang again immediately. Again, I declined. The third time I answered. What? My voice was ice. Linda, please let me explain. Explain what? Explain the apartment, the credit cards, the $120,000 you spent on your mistress. Silence. Then, how do you know about that? The police, David. The police know everything. They're looking at your financials right now. Did you really think you could hide this forever? Linda, I can fix this. I can make this right. Make it right. I laughed that awful sound. How do you make 32 years of lies right? It wasn't all lies. I love you. I've always loved you. You have a funny way of showing it. My hand was shaking so hard, I almost dropped the phone. You spent my birthday in the Bahamas with her, David. My 55th birthday, while I ate grocery store cake alone. I'm sorry. God, Linda, I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. Sorry doesn't erase 7 years. Sorry doesn't pay off $120,000 in debt. We can work through this. With counseling. Counseling. My voice rose. You think we can counsel our way through this? You told another woman I was dead. You were planning to commit bigamy. Do they have counseling for that? Linda, don't call me again. Don't text me. Don't come near me. Do you understand? Please, just let me. I hung up, turned off my phone completely, sat there shaking. Good, Sarah said fiercely. Good for you, Mom. But I didn't feel good. I felt destroyed, demolished, like someone had taken a wrecking ball to my entire existence. Mrs. Harrison, Detective Morris said gently, are you all right to continue? We can take a break if you need. No, keep going. Tell me everything. I want to know all of it. He exchanged a glance with Sarah, then nodded. All right. We're still investigating, but we've found some concerning patterns. Your husband made regular withdrawals from the secret account. Always cash. Always in amounts just under $10,000. Why under $10,000? Banks are required to report cash transactions over $10,000 to the IRS. Anything under that flies under the radar. It's called structuring, and it's illegal. Illegal. My husband was a criminal, not just a cheater, a criminal. What did he use the cash for? We don't know yet, but that amount of cash withdrawn regularly over years, it suggests something beyond just the affair. Like what? Detective Morris hesitated. Possibly gambling. Possibly drugs. Possibly paying someone off. We're looking into it. Gambling, drugs, payoffs. Each word was worse than the last. Who was David Harrison? Because he certainly wasn't the man I married. The door opened and another officer entered, whispered something to Detective Morris. He nodded, then looked at me. Mrs. Harrison Margaret is here. She's asking to speak with you. My stomach clenched. I don't want to see her. She says it's important. She says she has information about your husband that you need to know. What information? She wouldn't tell us, said she'll only talk to you. I looked at Sarah. She shook her head firmly. You don't owe her anything, Mom. But curiosity was eating at me. What did Margaret know that I didn't? What other secrets was I about to uncover? 5 minutes, I said. I'll give her 5 minutes. Detective Morris led us to a different room, larger, a conference room with a long table. Margaret sat at one end looking smaller than she had in the lobby. Her perfect hair was disheveled now. Her makeup was smudged. She looked like she'd been crying for hours. When she saw me, she stood. Linda, thank you for seeing me. I didn't do it for you. What do you want? She flinched at my tone but didn't back down. I want to tell you the truth, everything I know. Because I think there's more than either of us knew. I sat down across from her. Sarah stood behind me, protective. Detective Morris took a seat at the head of the table, notebook ready. Talk, I said. Margaret took a shaky breath. David told me you died in 2019. Cancer. He showed me an obituary. He showed me photos of your funeral. Photos of my funeral. My voice came out strangled. I'm not dead, obviously. I know that now. But the obituary looked real. The photos looked real. There was a casket, flowers, people crying. She pulled out her phone, pulled up a photo, slid it across the table. I looked at the image and felt reality shift again. It was a funeral, a casket surrounded by flowers, mourners in black, and David looking devastated, his head bowed. But the casket wasn't mine. The funeral wasn't mine. I had never died. Whose funeral is this? I asked. I don't know, but it's not yours. Margaret pulled up another photo, an obituary. Linda Marie Harrison, beloved wife and mother, died peacefully after a brave battle with cancer. I stared at my own obituary, at words describing my death, my life, my survivors, all lies, all carefully constructed lies. He created an entire fake funeral. Sarah's voice was shaking. Who does that? Someone very sick, Detective Morris said grimly. He took Margaret's phone, started taking photos of the images. This is evidence of fraud, possibly identity theft depending on how he created the obituary. There's more, Margaret said. About 6 months ago, David started acting strange, nervous. He would get phone calls and leave the room, started traveling more, said it was work, but what? I leaned forward. I followed him once. I'm not proud of it, but I was suspicious. He said he was going to Chicago for work. I followed him to the airport. Where did he go? He didn't get on the Chicago flight. He got on a flight to Miami. Miami. The word hung in the air. Why Miami? I don't know. I didn't follow him there. But Linda, he's been to Miami at least 6 times in the past 6 months. Maybe more. And I don't think it's for work. Detective Morris was writing furiously. Did he mention anyone in Miami? Any business contacts? Anything? No, nothing. He was very secretive about it. I thought about our calendar at home, David's travel schedule. Had there been trips to Miami, I couldn't remember. Everything was blurred now, suspect unreliable. Why are you telling me this? I asked Margaret. Why help me? She looked at me with something like understanding. Because he lied to both of us. Because I spent 7 years with a man I thought I knew and he was lying the whole time. Because... Her voice broke. Because I'm 53 years old and I just found out my entire relationship was based on a dead woman. And if he lied to us about this, what else is he lying about? What else indeed? There's something else, Margaret said, her voice dropping to almost a whisper. Last month I was at the apartment. The apartment he rented for you, I interrupted bitterly. Yes, that apartment. I was cleaning out a closet and I found a box, hidden in the back behind some old coats. What was in it? Margaret pulled out her phone again, pulled up more photos. Passports, 3 of them, all with David's photo, different names. She showed me the photos. I stared at 3 passports, David's face looking back at me from each one. But the names were different. Michael Patterson, James Whitmore, Robert Chen. Who is Robert Chen? Sarah asked. I have no idea, Margaret whispered. But that's not all. There were birth certificates too, and driver's licenses. All different names, all David's photo. Detective Morris stood up abruptly. Where are these documents now? Still in the apartment. I put them back. I was too scared to take them. We need to get those, now. He pulled out his radio, started calling for backup. I couldn't look away from the passport photos. 3 different identities, 3 different names. My husband wasn't just a cheater. He was living multiple lives, multiple identities. Who are you, David? I whispered to the photo. Who the hell are you? Mrs. Harrison. Detective Morris said urgently. Did your husband ever mention these names? Ever get mail addressed to these names? Anything? I shook my head numb. Nothing. I never heard any of these names. The Miami trips, the detective said, thinking out loud. The fake identities, the cash withdrawals. This is bigger than an affair. Much bigger. What do you mean? Sarah asked. I mean, your father might be involved in something criminal, money laundering, identity fraud, maybe more. More? My voice came out as a squeak. What could be more? Detective Morris didn't answer. He was already on his phone calling someone, talking in low, urgent tones about warrants and raids and federal involvement. Federal. The word made my blood run cold. Margaret was crying now, quiet tears running down her ruined makeup. I loved him. I thought we were going to get married. I thought... She looked at me. Did you really not know about me? No, I had no idea. Did you really not know about me? He showed me your obituary, your funeral. I mourned you. I comforted him through his grief. She laughed bitterly. I'm so stupid. We both are, I said and meant it. He fooled us both. And for a moment we just looked at each other, 2 women betrayed by the same man, united in our devastation. Mrs. Harrison, Detective Morris said, returning to the table. We're getting a warrant for the apartment. We're also getting warrants for your house. We need to search my house. I stood up. Why? Because if your husband was hiding this much, there might be more hidden at your home. Documents, money, evidence. Evidence of what? What do you think he did? I don't know yet. But those fake identities, the cash withdrawals, the Miami trips, this has all the hallmarks of organized fraud. Maybe worse. Worse. Always worse. Every answer led to more questions. Every truth revealed deeper lies. Sarah's phone rang. She looked at the screen and her face went white. It's Emily. She's here. Already. She must have been speeding. My younger daughter burst through the door moments later, her face blotchy from crying, her husband Tom right behind her. When she saw me, she ran over and wrapped me in a hug so tight I could barely breathe. Mom, I'm so sorry. I just can't believe. I know, baby. I know. Emily pulled back, looked around the room, saw Margaret. Is that her? Emily, don't. Tom tried to stop her, but Emily was already moving. You. Emily pointed at Margaret. You're the woman who thinks she's marrying my father. Emily, I didn't know. Margaret started. I don't care what you knew. My parents have been married for 32 years. 32 years. They have 2 daughters and 4 grandchildren and a life, and you just... Emily, stop. My voice cut through her fury. She didn't know. He told her I was dead. Emily turned to me, her face a mask of confusion and pain. Dead? Why would he say that? Because he's a liar, Sarah said flatly. Because he's been lying to everyone about everything. There's more, I said, and then I told her. All of it. The apartment, the debt, the fake identities, the Miami trips. I watched my daughter's face as I destroyed what was left of her image of her father. When I finished, Emily sank into a chair. This isn't happening. This can't be happening. Dad wouldn't... He's not... He is, I said gently. He did. All of it. Tom put his hand on Emily's shoulder. And maybe we should... No. Emily's voice was hard. I want to see him. I want to hear him explain this. I don't think that's a good idea, Detective Morris said. I don't care what you think. He's my father. I want to talk to him. The detective looked at me. I nodded. Let her see him. Let her hear it from him. 5 minutes later, we were all in an observation room looking through one-way glass at David. He sat at a metal table, his expensive suit rumpled, his usually perfect hair messed up. He looked older, smaller, defeated. An officer brought Emily in. When David saw his daughter, his face crumpled. Emily, sweetheart. Don't call me sweetheart. Emily's voice was cold. Don't call me anything. Emily, please, I can explain. Explain what? Explain the apartment, the fake funeral, the other identities. Which part exactly are you going to explain? Dad. David's mouth opened and closed. No words came out. Were you ever going to tell us? Emily asked. Were you ever going to stop lying? I didn't mean for this to happen. It spiraled out of control. It spiraled? Is that what you call this? It spiraled. Emily's voice rose. You created fake identities. You faked Mom's death. You were planning to commit bigamy, and you're saying it spiraled. I love you. I love your mother. You don't know what love is. Emily leaned forward, her hands flat on the table. Love doesn't lie. Love doesn't cheat. Love doesn't create entire fake lives. I made mistakes. Mistakes. Emily slammed her hand on the table. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. A mistake is saying the wrong thing at dinner. This isn't a mistake, Dad. This is a choice. Hundreds of choices, thousands of lies, every single day for 7 years. David put his head in his hands. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. I watched this through the glass, watched my daughter confront her father, and felt a strange mixture of pride and pain. Pride that she was strong enough to face him, pain that she had to. There's something else isn't there, Emily said suddenly. Something you're still not telling us. What is it? David looked up and I saw fear in his eyes. Real fear. What is it, Dad? What else are you hiding? Emily, I can't tell you. It's not safe. Not safe. Emily stepped back. What does that mean? It means I got involved with some people, bad people, and if I tell you everything, you could be in danger. The observation room went silent. Danger. Bad people. What had David done? Detective Morris was already moving, speaking into his radio. We need protective custody, all family members, now. Protective custody? Sarah grabbed my arm. From what? But I was still watching David through the glass. Watching him sit there, my husband of 32 years, and realizing I didn't know him at all. Had never known him. Mom. Emily came back into the observation room, her face white. Mom, what's happening? I don't know, baby, I don't know. But I was about to find out, because the door burst open and federal agents in bulletproof vests flooded in, their weapons drawn, their faces grim. Linda Harrison, one of them, approached me. I'm Agent Rodriguez, FBI. Ma'am, you and your family need to come with us right now. FBI. My voice came out as a squeak. Why is the FBI involved? Because your husband isn't just a bigamist, Mrs. Harrison. He's been under investigation for the past 3 months for money laundering and fraud. And based on what we just heard, you and your daughters might be in serious danger. The FBI safe house was nothing like the movies. No luxury apartment with a view. Just a bland suburban rental with beige walls and rental furniture that smelled faintly of bleach and other people's lives. Agent Rodriguez had driven us here in an unmarked SUV with tinted windows, checking his mirrors the entire way like we were being followed. Maybe we were. I didn't know anymore. Didn't know anything except that my husband was a criminal and my life had become a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. "How long do we have to stay here?" Emily asked, pacing the small living room. She had been pacing for 20 minutes ever since they locked us in. Tom sat on the couch holding their sleeping twin boys. Sarah was on her phone texting Mark, trying to explain the unexplainable. "Until we determine the threat level," Agent Rodriguez said. He was maybe 40 with sharp eyes that missed nothing. "Your husband got involved with some dangerous people. Until we know who they are and what they want, you stay here." "What people?" I asked for the third time. "What did he do? I can't give you details yet. It's an ongoing investigation." "He's my husband. I have a right to know." "Ma'am, with respect, you don't have any rights in this situation. Your husband waived those rights when he started laundering money for organized crime." Organized crime. The words hit me fresh each time I heard them. David Harrison, respected lawyer-devoted father, was working for criminals. "I need to use the bathroom," I said suddenly. The walls were closing in. I couldn't breathe. Agent Rodriguez nodded. "Down the hall. Don't open any windows." Don't open any windows, like I was a prisoner, like this was jail. I locked myself in the bathroom and stared at my reflection. 57 years old, gray hair, tired eyes, the face of a woman whose entire life had been a lie. When had I become this person? When had I stopped seeing, stopped questioning? My phone buzzed. David, again. I had turned it back on to call Sarah's husband, and now David wouldn't stop calling. 17 missed calls, 32 text messages, all variations of the same thing. "Please let me explain. I can fix this. I love you." I opened the texts, read them chronologically, watched him go from apologetic to desperate to angry to scared. "Linda, please answer. I know you're seeing these. I never meant to hurt you. It was supposed to be temporary. They said they'd kill you. They said they'd kill the girls. I had to do it. Please believe me. I'm trying to protect you." "They said they'd kill you." My hands started shaking. Who threatened my daughters?" I burst out of the bathroom. "Agent Rodriguez, I need to see my husband, now." "That's not possible. He said someone threatened to kill my daughters. I need to know who." Agent Rodriguez exchanged a glance with his partner, a younger woman named Chen. "Let me see the messages." I showed him my phone, watched his expression harden as he read. "This changes things," he said quietly. "Chen, call it in. Tell them we need to move up the timeline." "What timeline?" Sarah demanded. "What's happening?" "Your father is being transported to federal holding. They're going to offer him a deal. Information for protection." "Protection from who?" Emily had stopped pacing. "We don't know yet. That's what we're trying to find out." Agent Rodriguez turned to me. "Mrs. Harrison, I need you to think carefully. In the past year, has your husband seemed scared, paranoid? Has anyone unusual contacted your house?" I thought back, tried to remember. So much had seemed normal. But now, looking back through the lens of truth, small things stood out. "There was a man," I said slowly, 3 months ago. He came to the house, said he was a client of David's. But David wasn't home, and when I offered to take a message, he said no, said he'd catch David at the office. What did he look like? Tall, maybe 6'3", dark hair, expensive suit. He had an accent. Russian maybe, or Eastern European. Agent Rodriguez was typing notes into his phone. "Did he give a name?" "Alex. He said his name was Alex." "Last name?" "He didn't say. I asked, but he just smiled and left." "Did your husband mention him later?" "No. I told David about the visit and he went pale. Said Alex wasn't a client. Said I should never answer the door if Alex came back." The memory sharpened. He installed a new security system the next day, cameras, alarms, said it was because of a break-in in the neighborhood. But there was no break-in was there. Probably not. Agent Rodriguez showed me his phone. A photo of a man, tall, dark hair, cold eyes. Is this Alex? My stomach dropped. Yes, that's him. Who is he? Alexei Volkov, Russian mob. Money laundering, extortion, murder. If he came to your house, your husband is in much deeper than we thought. Murder. The word echoed in my head. A murderer had been at my door, had stood on my porch, had smiled at me. Mom, sit down. Sarah guided me to a chair. You're white as a sheet. A murderer was at our house, at our home, where our grandchildren visit. Mrs. Harrison, when did David install the security system? Exactly when? I pulled out my phone, checked my calendar. July 18th, 3 months ago. That's 2 weeks after we started investigating him. Agent Rodriguez was pacing now. He knew we were watching. He got scared. Or Volkov scared him, Agent Chen suggested. Why would the Russian mob care about David? Emily asked. He's just a lawyer. A lawyer with access to client funds. A lawyer who can move money quietly. A lawyer who can make illegal transactions look legitimate. Agent Rodriguez looked at me. Did your husband handle any Russian clients? Any Eastern European businesses? I don't know. He didn't talk about work much. Another lie I had believed. He hadn't been protecting client confidentiality. He had been hiding crimes. The front door opened. I jumped, my heart racing, but it was just another agent, an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. Rodriguez, we got a hit on the apartment. You need to see this. They went into another room, speaking in low voices. I couldn't hear the words, but I could hear the tone. Urgent, worried. This is insane, Tom said quietly. He was still holding the twins, who were miraculously still asleep. This morning we were eating breakfast, and now we're in witness protection because Linda's husband is laundering money for Russian mobsters. We're not in witness protection, Sarah corrected. We're in protective custody. There's a difference. What's the difference? Witness protection is permanent. This is temporary, hopefully. Emily had started crying again, silent tears running down her face. I called him yesterday, asked his advice about the boys' preschool, and the whole time he was, counting mob money, meeting with murderers. You didn't know, I said. None of us knew. But we should have. Shouldn't we? Shouldn't there have been signs? There had been signs, small ones. The late nights, the secret phone calls, the nervous energy he tried to hide, but I had explained them all away, had wanted to believe so badly that everything was fine. Agent Rodriguez came back, his face grim. We found something at the apartment. Mrs. Harrison, I need to show you some photos. They're disturbing. He pulled out a tablet, pulled up images. I looked at the screen and felt my world tilt again. Photos of me, dozens of them. Me at the grocery store, me at the garden club, me picking up the grandkids from school, me everywhere doing everything completely unaware I was being watched. Someone was following me. My voice came out high, panicked. For at least 6 months. These were hidden in a safe in your husband's apartment. Why would David have photos of me being followed? Either he was having you followed, or someone gave him these photos as a threat. Mrs. Harrison, look at this one. He zoomed in on a photo. Me outside Sarah's house. And in the corner of the image, barely visible, a red circle drawn in marker around Sarah's front door. They marked my daughter's house. My voice was shaking. They know where she lives. They know where everyone lives. Your house, Sarah's, Emily's, even your grandchildren's schools. Agent Rodriguez's voice was gentle but firm. Mrs. Harrison, your husband wasn't just laundering money. He was being blackmailed. They threatened your family to keep him compliant. The room started spinning. I gripped the edge of the chair, trying to stay upright. How long? Sarah's voice was barely a whisper. How long have they been threatening us? Based on these photos, at least 6 months, maybe longer. And Dad never told us, never warned us. Emily's voice was hard now. He let us walk around with targets on our backs and said nothing. He was trying to protect you, Agent Rodriguez said, in his twisted way. He thought if he cooperated, they'd leave you alone. Did they? Tom asked. Leave us alone? So far, yes. But now that he's in custody, now that we're investigating, everything changes. They might decide the family is a liability. A liability. We weren't people anymore. We were liabilities, problems to be solved. What do we do? I asked. How do we fix this? You don't, we do. Your husband has information they want kept secret. Our job is to get that information and use it to take them down. Your job is to stay here and stay safe. For how long? As long as it takes. My phone buzzed again. Another text from David. I opened it and gasped. Linda, they know. They know I talked to the FBI. They called me, said if I testify, you die first. Please, please get somewhere safe. Take the girls. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I love you. I showed Agent Rodriguez, watched his jaw clench. When did you get this? Just now. He's not supposed to have phone access. Rodriguez was already on his radio. Chen, check on Harrison. Now. We waited. 30 seconds that felt like 30 years. Then Chen's voice crackled through. He's gone. Harrison's gone. What do you mean gone? He's not in his cell. Doors open. Guards unconscious. Rodriguez, he escaped. The room exploded into action. Agents running, radios crackling, orders being shouted, and I sat there frozen, trying to process what I'd just heard. David had escaped from federal custody. My husband, the criminal, was on the run. Did he run to protect us, or to protect himself? Sarah asked quietly. I didn't know. Didn't know anything anymore except that we were in danger, and the one person who could explain everything had vanished. We need to move you, Agent Rodriguez said, already gathering his things. This location is compromised. If Harrison knows where you are, Volkov might too. How would David know where we are? Emily demanded. He's a lawyer. He has resources. He has connections. Mrs. Harrison, do you have any idea where he might go? Where would David go? I thought about our life together, the places we'd been, the places he'd talked about, and then I remembered. His brother. He has a brother in Vermont. They're not close, but they talk sometimes. David mentioned him last month, said he'd been sick. Brother's name? Robert Harrison. He lives in Burlington. Agent Rodriguez was typing furiously. Harrison has a brother in Vermont we didn't know about. Get me everything on Robert Harrison, Burlington, Vermont. Now. Wait, Sarah said. Uncle Robert, I didn't know we had an Uncle Robert. Neither did I until last month. Your father mentioned him in passing. Said he was dealing with cancer treatment and money was tight. Money was tight, Agent Rodriguez repeated. So your husband was sending him money. I assume so. David said he was helping out. Or he was setting up a bolt hole, somewhere to run if things went bad. Rodriguez looked at me. Did he ever mention a cabin, a vacation home anywhere in Vermont? No, but that doesn't mean anything. He had an entire apartment I didn't know about. And 3 fake identities, Emily added bitterly. Maybe Uncle Robert doesn't even exist. Maybe he's just another lie. Agent Chen came running back in. Rodriguez, we've got a problem. Harrison's car was found abandoned 2 blocks from the station, but there was another car reported stolen from the same area 20 minutes ago. Black Honda Accord. Put out an APB, all roads out of the city. Rodriguez turned to us. Pack your things, we're moving now. Moving where? Tom asked, clutching the twins tighter. Somewhere they won't find you. We were hustled into 2 separate vehicles, me and Sarah in one, Emily, Tom, and the twins in another. I watched my daughters being driven away and felt terror claw at my throat. Where are they taking them? I asked the agent driving us. Different location, safer to split up. Safer, nothing about this is safe. Mrs. Harrison, please try to calm down. Calm down. My husband escaped from the FBI, and there are Russian mobsters who want to kill me, and you're telling me to calm down. Sarah grabbed my hand, squeezed hard. Mom, breathe. Just breathe. But breathing hurt. Everything hurt. The driver took us through the city, then out onto the highway. Trees flashed by. exit signs. Normal people living normal lives, completely unaware that people like us existed. People running from their own husbands. People hiding from murderers. "Where's Margaret?" I asked suddenly. "Is she in protective custody too?" "No, she's not family. She's not a target." "But David proposed to her. They know about her." "We offered her protection. She declined. Said she wanted to go home and pretend this never happened." Lucky Margaret. She could pretend. She could walk away. I was stuck in this nightmare with no escape. My phone rang. Unknown number. I looked at the agent. "Don't answer it," he said, but I was already swiping to accept. "Hello?" "Linda?" David's voice. Strained. Scared. "Thank God. Are you safe?" "Am I safe?" "You escaped from federal custody and you're asking if I'm safe." "I had to. They were going to kill you. Volkov has people inside the FBI. He knew where you were. I had to get out, had to warn you." "Warn me? You're the reason I'm in danger." I know, and I'm sorry. But Linda, please listen. There's something you need to know. Something I should have told you years ago." "I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear any more of your lies." "It's not a lie. It's the truth, the real truth. Linda, I'm not who you think I am." "I know that. You're a criminal. You're a money launderer. I'm FBI." The world stopped. Actually stopped. "What? I'm FBI. I've been undercover for 8 years. Everything, the apartment, the fake identities, Margaret, all of it was part of my cover. I was trying to get close to Volkov, trying to take down his organization. I couldn't speak, couldn't think. FBI, undercover, 8 years. "You're lying," I finally said. "This is another lie." "I'm not lying. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell anyone. It was too dangerous. But now that I've blown my cover, now that Volkov knows I need to get you somewhere safe before he retaliates. If you're FBI, why did you escape? Why are the FBI agents here treating you like a criminal? Because I went rogue. I wasn't supposed to expose myself. I wasn't supposed to make contact with Margaret where you could find out. I broke protocol. They're furious. But Linda, none of that matters now. What matters is keeping you safe." "Agent Rodriguez," I said to the driver, "is my husband FBI?" The driver's hands tightened on the wheel. "Ma'am, I can't comment on active investigations." "That's not a no," Sarah said quietly. "It's not a yes either," I said. But doubt was creeping in. What if David was telling the truth? What if the last 8 years hadn't been betrayal, but sacrifice? "Linda, where are they taking you?" David's voice was urgent. "I need to know you're safe. I'm not telling you where we are. Please, trust me one more time. I know I don't deserve it, but please, trust you. You destroyed our marriage. You destroyed our family. Whether you were undercover or not, you still lied. You still had another woman. You still made me think I was losing my mind. The thing with Margaret that was part of the cover, I needed to look like I was living a double life. I needed to seem like I could be corrupted. But Linda, I never stopped loving you. Not for 1 second. Then why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you warn me? I couldn't. The moment I told you, you became a target. The moment you knew they could use you against me. I was trying to protect you. By lying to me for 8 years. Yes. His voice broke. Yes, by lying, and I hate myself for it. But it was either lie to you or watch you die. And I couldn't... Linda, I couldn't lose you. Tears were streaming down my face now. I didn't know if I believed him, didn't know if any of this was real or just another elaborate lie. "Put Agent Rodriguez on the phone," David said. "Let me talk to him. He can verify what I'm saying." I handed the phone to the driver. "He wants to talk to Rodriguez." The driver took the phone, listened, then pulled over to the side of the road. "Sir, this is Agent Matthews. I'm transporting Mrs. Harrison and her daughter Sarah to Safe House Delta. We're currently on Route 2, about 15 miles outside the city." He listened some more. His expression changed. Went from suspicious to surprised to something like understanding. "Yes, sir. Understood. I'll hold our position." He hung up and turned to me. "Ma'am, I need to make a call. Please stay in the vehicle." He got out, walked a few yards away, started talking urgently into his radio. Sarah and I looked at each other. Mom, what if he's telling the truth? What if Dad really is FBI? Then he's still a liar. He still destroyed our marriage. FBI or not, he chose this life, chose to lie to us every day for 8 years. But he might have been trying to protect us. Or he might be lying right now, using this FBI story to manipulate us. We don't know. We can't know. Agent Matthews came back, got in the car. Change of plans. Agent Rodriguez is meeting us. He wants to talk to both of you. About what? About your husband's claims. Ma'am, I'm not authorized to confirm or deny anything. But there are some questions about the case, some inconsistencies. Inconsistencies. My life had become one giant inconsistency. We drove to a rest stop, waited in the car with the engine running. After 10 minutes, 2 black SUVs pulled up. Agent Rodriguez got out of one looking furious. He opened my door. Mrs. Harrison, we need to talk. Inside. We went into the rest stop to a corner booth away from other people. Rodriguez sat across from me and Sarah, his expression unreadable. Your husband called me, he said without preamble. Made some interesting claims. Is he FBI? I demanded. Yes or no? Rodriguez was quiet for a long moment. Then, I can't confirm that. Can't or won't? Both. Mrs. Harrison, there are things about this case you don't understand. Things I can't explain. Try me. I can't. But I will say this. Your husband is not what he seems. Neither is this situation. And you need to trust me when I say that the less you know right now, the safer you are. The less I know nothing. I'm operating completely blind here. And that might be what keeps you alive. Rodriguez leaned forward. Mrs. Harrison, listen to me carefully. People in my organization have been compromised. I don't know who. I don't know how many. Until I figure it out, I can't trust anyone, which means I can't tell you anything that might get back to the wrong people. So what do we do? Sarah asked. You do exactly what I tell you. You go where I send you, you trust no one except me, and you wait. Wait for what? Wait for this to be over. My phone buzzed. Another text from David. Linda, I'm coming for you. I'm going to fix this. I promise. I love you. I showed Rodriguez. He swore under his breath. He's not supposed to know where you are. Someone's feeding him information. He grabbed his radio. All units, we have a leak. Assume all communications are compromised. Switch to emergency protocol Alpha. What does that mean? I asked. It means we're going dark. No phones. No contact with anyone. From this moment on, you don't exist. He reached for my phone. I pulled it back. I need to talk to Emily. I need to know she's safe. She is safe. But the moment you call her, you put her in danger. Mrs. Harrison, please. Trust me. I looked at my phone, at my lifeline to my daughters, to the world, and then I handed it over. Rodriguez took Sarah's phone too, removed the batteries from both. I'm sorry, but this is necessary. We were loaded back into the car. This time, Agent Matthews wasn't driving. A woman I'd never seen before was behind the wheel, young stern, saying nothing. We drove for hours, out of the city, through small towns, finally up a winding mountain road to a cabin that looked like it hadn't been used in years. The woman got out, checked the perimeter, then nodded to us. This is home for now, she said, her first words to us. Inside the cabin was small but clean. 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, a living room with a fireplace, no TV, no internet, no connection to the outside world. How long do we stay here? Sarah asked. Until someone comes to get you. Who? You'll know when they get here. And then she left. Actually left. Drove away, leaving us alone in a cabin in the middle of nowhere, with no phones, no contact, no idea what was happening. Sarah and I looked at each other. This is insane, she said. Everything is insane. We explored the cabin, found food in the cupboards, blankets in the closets, a rifle above the fireplace with a box of ammunition. I stared at the rifle and wondered if I could actually use it. If someone came through that door, someone dangerous, could I pull the trigger? I didn't know. Hoped I'd never have to find out. Night fell. We ate canned soup and stale crackers, tried to talk about normal things, failed. Everything led back to David, to the lies, to the danger. "Do you think he's really FBI?" Sarah asked as we sat by the fireplace. "I don't know what to think anymore." "If he is, does that make it better? Does that excuse the lies?" "No, but it might explain them." "Mom, I'm scared." "Me too, baby. Me too." We heard a noise outside. Both froze. I grabbed the rifle, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold it. "Someone's here," Sarah whispered. I moved to the window, peered out through the curtain. A figure was approaching the cabin, tall, male, moving quickly. "Get in the bedroom," I told Sarah. "Lock the door. Don't come out no matter what you hear." "Mom, I'm not leaving you." "Go now." She went. I heard the bedroom door close, the lock click. I stood there in the living room, rifle raised, watching the door. A knock, 3 short raps. "Linda," David's voice. "Linda, it's me. Please open the door." My husband, my criminal husband, my FBI husband, my liar husband, standing outside asking to be let in. I didn't move, didn't speak. "Linda, I know you're in there. I can see the light. Please, we need to talk." "Go away." "I can't. They're coming. Volkov's men. They tracked me here. We have maybe 10 minutes before they arrive. Please let me in so I can protect you." "Why should I believe you?" "Because in 32 years of marriage, I've never failed to protect you, and I'm not starting now." I stood there, rifle aimed at the door, trying to decide. Trust him one more time, or stand my ground and hope the FBI came back before Volkov's men arrived. The decision was made for me. Gunfire erupted from the woods. The window beside me exploded. I hit the floor glass, raining down on me. "Linda." David was pounding on the door now. "Let me in. Now." I crawled to the door, unlocked it. David burst in, carrying a gun I'd never seen before, already firing back into the woods. "Sarah," I screamed, "stay in the bedroom." David kicked the door shut, dragged a heavy dresser in front of it. "How many men did you see?" "I don't know. 2, 3. There's at least 5, maybe more." He was checking his gun, checking the windows, moving like someone who'd done this before. Moving like a soldier, not a lawyer. More gunfire. The walls shuddered. I heard Sarah crying in the bedroom. "We can't stay here," David said. "They'll burn us out or just wait until we run out of ammunition. We need to move. Move where we're in the middle of nowhere. There's a car hidden half a mile down the mountain, old logging road, if we can get there. If, that's a big if." He grabbed my shoulders, looked into my eyes. "Linda, I need you to trust me. One more time. Can you do that?" I looked at this man, this stranger, this husband, and realized I didn't have a choice. "Yes," I said. "God help me, yes." "Sarah!" I screamed toward the bedroom. "We're leaving now!" The bedroom door flew open, and Sarah emerged, her face white with terror. "Mom, what's happening? No time to explain. We have to run." I grabbed her arm, pulled her toward David. He was already at the back door, checking outside through a crack in the curtain. Another burst of gunfire shattered what remained of the front windows. Wood splintered, glass exploded. The cabin was being torn apart around us. "They're concentrating fire on the front," David said, his voice eerily calm. "That means the back might be clear. Might. When I say go, you run straight into the woods. Don't stop. Don't look back. Head downhill. Always downhill." "What about you?" I asked. "I'll cover you. Give you 30 seconds head start. Then I'll follow." "No, we stay together." "Linda, there's no time to argue." "Then don't argue. We go together or we don't go at all." He looked at me, and for a moment I saw the man I married, the man underneath all the lies and secrets and danger, the man who used to hold me when I couldn't sleep and laugh at my terrible jokes and dance with me in the kitchen when no music was playing. "Together," he said finally. "On 3, 1, 2, 3. He threw open the back door, and we ran, Sarah in front, me behind her, David bringing up the rear and firing back toward the woods. The night was full of sounds. Gunfire, shouting in Russian, trees cracking as bullets tore through them. I had never run so fast in my life. My lungs burned, my legs screamed, but I kept moving because stopping meant dying, and I was not ready to die. "Down!" David yelled. We hit the ground as a line of bullets tore through the air where we'd been standing. Sarah was crying. I was praying. David was reloading his gun with movements so practiced they looked automatic. "Keep moving," he said. 20 more yards to the logging road." We crawled. Actually crawled on our bellies like soldiers through the underbrush. Branches scraped my face. Rocks dug into my knees. I kept thinking about my grandbabies, about Emily and Tom, about whether I'd ever see them again. "There," David pointed to a break in the trees. "The car's just through there." We scrambled to our feet and ran. Behind us, voices shouted. Footsteps pounded. They were close. Too close. The car was an old pickup truck, rusted and dented, hidden under a camouflage tarp. David ripped the tarp off, threw open the driver's door. "Get in, both of you." Sarah and I piled into the passenger side, squeezing together on the bench seat. David turned the key. The engine coughed, sputtered, died. "No, no, no," he muttered, turning the key again. "Come on, come on." Men emerged from the trees, 3 of them all carrying rifles, all moving toward us with deadly purpose. The engine caught, roared to life. David threw it into gear and floored the accelerator. The truck lurched forward, tires spinning on loose gravel, fishtailing wildly. Gunfire erupted behind us. The back window exploded. Sarah screamed. I ducked, pulling her down with me. David kept driving, one hand on the wheel, one hand firing his gun out the window. "Stay down!" he yelled. The truck careened down the logging road, bouncing over ruts and rocks, branches scraping the sides. I could hear the men behind us, hear their vehicles starting up, hear the chase beginning. "Where are we going?" Sarah asked, her voice muffled against my shoulder. "Away from here," David said. "That's all that matters right now." That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have. The logging road opened onto a paved highway. David took the turn too fast, the truck skidding sideways before straightening out. Behind us, headlights appeared. 2 vehicles, maybe 3. "They're following us," I said unnecessarily. "I know." "Can you outrun them? This truck is 40 years old and running on hope and duct tape, so no, but I can try." He pushed the accelerator to the floor. The truck shuddered, protested, but picked up speed. 60, 70, 80 miles an hour on a dark mountain road with no guardrails and a sheer drop on one side. "David, slow down," I said. "You're going to kill us." "They're going to kill us if I don't." A valid point. I grabbed the door handle and held on as we screamed around curves, tires squealing, the truck leaning so far I thought we'd flip. More gunfire. A bullet took out our side mirror. Another punched through the tailgate. "They're getting closer," Sarah said, looking back. "I know. What do? We survive. That's what we do." We flew past a sign, Burlington 20 miles, Burlington where Robert supposedly lived, Burlington where David might have a bolt hole, a safe place, a way out. "Are we going to your brother's?" I asked. "I don't have a brother." "What? Robert Harrison doesn't exist. I made him up, needed a reason to send money to Vermont, needed a cover story for the cabin." Another lie, another fabrication. But I was too terrified to be angry about it. "So, where are we going?" "There's a FBI field office in Burlington. If we can get there, we might be safe." Might. Everything was might. Maybe. Possibly. Nothing was certain anymore. One of the pursuing vehicles pulled alongside us, a black SUV with tinted windows. The passenger window rolled down and I saw a gun barrel emerge. "Hold on!" David yanked the wheel hard to the right, slamming the truck into the SUV. Metal screamed. The SUV swerved, nearly went off the road, dropped back. "Did you just ram them?" Sarah asked, her voice rising to a shriek. "Yes. Are you insane?" "Probably." The SUV came back harder this time, hitting us from behind. We lurched forward. I bit my tongue and tasted blood. "Mom, I'm scared," Sarah said. "I know, baby. Me too." David was checking his gun. "I'm almost out of ammunition. 4 bullets left." 4 bullets against how many men? At least 8, maybe 10. Those are terrible odds. Yes. The highway curved sharply. David took the curve too wide, and for one heart-stopping moment, we were airborne, all four wheels off the ground. We landed hard, the suspension groaning something metal, snapping underneath. That didn't sound good, I said. It's not good. We won't make it to Burlington. Truck's dying. Then what? Then we improvise. We crested a hill, and there below us was a small town. Maybe 2,000 people, a main street with a few shops, a gas station, a police station with lights on inside. There, I pointed, the police. Can't. Volkov has people in local law enforcement. We go to them, we might be walking into a trap. Then what? David's eyes scanned the town as we raced through it. Then he saw something, made a decision, yanked the wheel hard to the left. We skidded into a parking lot behind a church. David killed the engine, grabbed my hand. Run! Into the church! Now! We ran. The church door was unlocked, thank God, and we stumbled inside. Dark, empty, rows of pews, a pulpit, stained glass windows that reflected our pursuers' headlights as they pulled into the parking lot. This way. David led us through a side door down a hallway into what looked like a church office. He locked the door, shoved a filing cabinet in front of it. They'll find us, Sarah said. This is a dead end. No, it's a fortress. Church walls are thick, only one entrance to this hallway. They'll have to come at us single file. You're going to shoot people in a church? I asked, horrified. I'm going to defend my family. Location doesn't matter. I heard the church door crash open, heard footsteps, heard voices speaking Russian. They were inside. They were coming. David positioned himself at the office door, gun ready. Get behind the desk, both of you. We crouched behind an old oak desk. I could see Sarah's hands shaking, could hear my own heart pounding like a drum. The footsteps grew closer. Someone tried the office door, found it locked, kicked it. The door shuddered but held. More kicking. The wood began to splinter. The filing cabinet scraped backward an inch, then another inch. David raised his gun. 4 bullets. That's all he had left. 4 bullets against 10 men. The door burst open. A man came through, rifle raised. David fired once. The man went down. 3 bullets left. Another man appeared in the doorway. David fired. Missed. The man ducked back. 2 bullets. David Harrison, a voice called from the hallway. Accented. Russian. This is pointless. You are trapped. Surrender and we make it quick. Your family will not suffer. He's lying, David whispered to me. The moment we surrender, we're dead. If we don't surrender, we're still dead. Not yet. Not while I'm breathing. Very touching, the voice called, but foolish. We have 10 men. You have, 2 bullets, 3. You cannot win this. David didn't answer, was thinking, planning. His eyes darted around the office, looking for options for weapons, for anything we could use. I'm going to count to 10, the voice said. Then we come in shooting. Your choice. Die fighting or die smart. 1, 2, 3. The window, David whispered. Can you open it? I looked at the window behind the desk. Old, painted shut. But maybe. I can try. Do it. Quietly. I moved to the window while the voice continued counting. 4, 5, 6. I pushed at the window frame. It didn't budge. 7, 8. I pushed harder. Something cracked. The paint seal breaking. The window lifted an inch. 9. I shoved with everything I had. The window flew open. Cold night air rushed in. 10. Go! David yelled. Sarah went first, squeezing through the window, dropping to the ground outside. I followed, my hips catching on the frame, Sarah pulling me through from the other side. Behind us, gunfire erupted. I heard David's gun answer. Once. Twice. Then nothing. No more shots. David! I screamed. He came through the window in a roll, breathing hard. Move! They're right behind me. We ran again. Always running. Through the church parking lot, across a street into a residential neighborhood. Dogs barked. Lights came on in houses. People peered out windows at the crazy people running past in the middle of the night. In here. David pulled us into a yard behind a tall hedge. We collapsed, gasping for air. "Did we lose them?" Sarah asked. "For now, but they'll search the neighborhood. We have maybe 5 minutes before they find us." "Then what?" "Then we need a car." "You want to steal a car?" I asked, incredulous. "You have a better idea." I didn't. Sarah didn't. We were out of ideas, out of options, out of everything except the desperate will to survive. David peered around the hedge, scanning the street. "There, the Honda with the for sale sign. Keys might be inside." "That's a terrible plan." "It's the only plan." We crept across the street to the Honda. David tried the door. Locked. He looked around, found a rock smashed the driver's window. "So much for quiet," Sarah muttered. The alarm blared. Lights came on in the house. David was already under the dashboard, hot-wiring the ignition with practiced hands. A man emerged from the house carrying a baseball bat. "Hey, what are you doing?" The engine turned over. David shoved it into gear. "I'm sorry," I yelled to the man as we peeled away. "We'll bring it back." We probably wouldn't bring it back, but it seemed like the polite thing to say. Behind us, the black SUVs were already coming down the street. They'd heard the alarm. We're closing in. "We're never going to shake them," Sarah said. "We don't need to shake them. We just need to get to Burlington." And David was driving fast, but not crazy fast, trying to blend in with what little traffic there was at midnight. How far? 12 miles. 12 miles of terror. 12 miles of checking the rearview mirror every 3 seconds. 12 miles of wondering if we'd make it. My phone. I realized I didn't have my phone. Agent Rodriguez had taken it. Taken our only way to call for help. "Do you have a phone?" I asked David. "Burner, in my pocket, right side." I fished it out. A cheap flip phone, old-fashioned, probably untraceable. "Who do I call?" "Rodriguez. Numbers saved under R." I dialed. It rang 4 times before a groggy voice answered. "Rodriguez. This is Linda Harrison. We're in trouble. David's here. We're being chased by Volkov's men." I heard him swear. Heard rustling. "Where are you?" "Heading toward Burlington. David says there's a field office." "There is, but it's compromised. Don't go there. Listen to me carefully. There's a diner called Millie's on Route 7 just outside Burlington. Go there. I'll meet you in 30 minutes. We might not have 30 minutes. Then drive fast. And Mrs. Harrison, don't trust anyone except me. Not the local police. Not other agents. No one. Volkov has people everywhere." He hung up. I looked at David. "Rodriguez says the field office is compromised. We're meeting him at a diner." "Which diner?" "Millie's, Route 7. David nodded. "I know it. 20 minutes if we push it." He pushed it. The stolen Honda wasn't built for high-speed chases, but it was doing its best. We hit 80, 90. The engine screamed in protest. "Mom, they're gaining," Sarah said, looking back. She was right. The SUVs were getting closer, closer. One of them pulled alongside us. "Down!" David yelled. The window exploded. Glass rained down on us. Sarah was screaming. I was screaming. David was swerving, trying to shake them off. The SUV rammed us once, twice. The Honda fishtailed. David fought to control it, but we were heading toward the shoulder, toward the ditch, toward a crash that would end everything. Time slowed. I saw it happening in pieces. The road rushing up. Sarah's terrified face, David's hands white-knuckled on the wheel. And I thought, this is it. This is how it ends. In a stolen Honda on a dark Vermont highway. But David yanked the wheel at the last second. We missed the ditch by inches, swerved back onto the road. The SUV wasn't as lucky. It overshot, couldn't correct, went into the ditch hard. I heard the crunch of metal saw sparks. "One down," David said grimly. But there was still another SUV behind us, and ahead I could see lights. A town. Burlington, maybe. Or the diner. Or anywhere that wasn't here. "There," Sarah pointed. A neon sign. "Millie's Diner. Open 24 hours." David pulled into the parking lot so hard the tires smoked. There were 3 cars already there. A good sign. People inside. Witnesses. Harder to kill us with witnesses. We stumbled out of the Honda and ran for the diner entrance. Behind us, the remaining SUV pulled in slower, now cautious. Inside the diner was bright and normal and completely surreal. A waitress pouring coffee, a truck driver eating pie, a young couple in a booth holding hands. Regular people living regular lives, unaware that 3 people had just run in fleeing for their lives. "Sit down," David hissed. "Act normal." We slid into a booth. The waitress came over, all smiles and coffee pot. "What can I get you folks?" "Coffee," David said. 3 coffees, and keep them coming." She poured left menus, walked away. Through the window I could see men getting out of the SUV. 4 of them, all watching the diner, waiting. "Why aren't they coming in?" Sarah asked. "Too many witnesses. They're waiting for us to come out." "So we're trapped again." "We're safe, for now." "For now isn't good enough." She was right. For now just meant delaying the inevitable, unless Rodriguez showed up, unless help arrived, unless something changed. I looked at my husband, really looked at him, at this man I had loved for 32 years, this man I didn't know, this man who might be FBI or might be criminal or might be both. "Tell me the truth," I said quietly. "All of it. Right now. No more lies." David looked at me for a long moment. Then he started talking. "My name isn't David Harrison. It's Daniel Marks. I was recruited by the FBI 20 years ago, right out of college. They needed someone who could go deep undercover, someone without family ties, someone who could disappear." "But you have family. You have me, the girls." "I do now. But I wasn't supposed to. That wasn't part of the plan." He looked down at his coffee. "I met you at that party in 1991. I was supposed to be building a cover identity, supposed to be creating a fake life I could use later, but then I actually fell in love with you. So our marriage was part of your cover. At first, yes, but it became real. You became real. Sarah and Emily became real. I was living 2 lives, and one of them stopped being fake." "When did the Volkov investigation start?" 8 years ago. They needed someone on the inside of his organization, someone he'd trust. I was perfect. Lawyer with a family, respectable, corruptible. So I let them corrupt me. And Margaret, part of the cover. I needed to look like I was living a double life. Needed Volkov to think I had secrets to hide, someone who could be blackmailed. So the FBI helped me create the Margaret persona, the apartment, the fake identities, all of it. "Did you sleep with her?" The question hung in the air. I needed to know. After everything I needed to know, this one thing. "No, never. I know you won't believe me, but I swear on our daughters' lives. Margaret thought we were together, but we never." I couldn't. I wanted to believe him. Wanted it so badly it hurt. But belief required trust, and trust required truth. And I didn't know what was true anymore. "Why didn't you tell me all these years? Why didn't you tell me?" "Because the moment you knew you became a liability. Volkov doesn't leave loose ends. If he even suspected you knew you'd be dead. All of you. So you lied to protect us." "Yes. And now my cover's blown. Volkov knows I'm FBI, which means you're in danger no matter what. So there's no point in lying anymore." The diner door opened. My heart seized, but it was just an old man coming in for coffee. Not Rodriguez. Not yet. "Where is he?" Sarah asked, checking her watch. "It's been 25 minutes. "He'll come. He has to come." But what if he didn't? What if Volkov had gotten to him too? What if we were sitting here waiting for rescue that would never arrive? David's burner phone rang. He answered, listened, his face going pale. "When? How many?" He listened more. Understood. Man, he hung up and looked at me with something like despair. "That was Rodriguez. He's not coming." "What, why?" "Because Volkov just took Emily." The world stopped. Actually stopped. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Couldn't process what I'd just heard. "Emily," Sarah's voice came out as a whisper. "He has Emily. And Tom. And the twins. They hit the safe house 20 minutes ago. Took the whole family. Oh, God." I was going to be sick. Actually sick. My daughter. My grandbabies. In the hands of a murderer. "What does he want?" I asked. David looked at me. He wants me. He said if I turn myself in, he'll let them go. You can't. It's a trap. He'll kill all of you. I know, but I have to try. They're my family too. No. I grabbed his arm. No, there has to be another way. There isn't. This is my fault. I brought this on us. I have to fix it. By getting yourself killed, if that's what it takes. I looked at this man, this liar, this hero, this stranger, this husband, and I realized something. Despite everything, despite all the lies and betrayal and deception, I still loved him. God help me, I still loved him. Then we do it together, I said. We get Emily back together, as a family. Linda, don't argue. We're past arguing. Tell me what we need to do. David looked at Sarah. She nodded. I'm in. Those are my sister's babies. I'm in. He took a shaky breath. All right. But we do this my way. And if things go wrong, you run. Both of you. You run, and you don't look back. Where are they? I asked. The warehouse district, near the waterfront. Volkov owns a building there. He's waiting. Then let's not keep him waiting. We stood up, left money on the table for coffee we hadn't drunk, walked out of the diner into the parking lot where 4 armed men were waiting to kill us. But we didn't run, didn't fight. David just walked up to the nearest one and said, "Take me to Volkov. Let my wife and daughter go. They're not part of this." The man smiled, cold, dead eyes. "Everyone is part of this now. Get in the car." We got in the car, and as we drove toward the warehouse, toward Emily and Tom and my grandbabies, toward whatever end was waiting for us, I held David's hand and prayed that love would be enough to save us. It had to be enough, because it was all we had left. The warehouse smelled like oil and salt water and fear. They marched us through a loading bay, past rusted machinery, and stacked crates into a large open space where fluorescent lights hung from chains and cast everything in harsh shadows. Emily was there, bound to a chair, bruised, crying. When she saw me, she screamed through her gag, "Emily!" I tried to run to her, but rough hands grabbed me, held me back. Tom was tied next to her blood, running from a cut above his eye, and in the corner in a playpen that looked obscenely out of place in this nightmare, my grandson slept. Drugged, probably. Too quiet. Too still. "You bastard!" I hissed at the man who held me. "They're babies. They're innocent." "No one is innocent," a voice said from the shadows. Alexei Volkov stepped into the light, tall, expensive suit, the same cold smile I remembered from my doorstep 3 months ago. "Everyone has sins, Mrs. Harrison. Even babies. They are born from sinners. Let them go." David said, his voice steady despite everything. "You have me. That's what you wanted. Let my family go." "Let them go," Volkov laughed. "Why would I do that? They are my insurance. As long as I have them, you cooperate. You tell me everything I want to know. I've already told the FBI everything." "But you haven't told them everything, have you, Daniel?" Volkov used David's real name like a weapon. "You haven't told them about the money, the $12 million you helped me move, the $12 million that is now missing." $12 million. The number hit me like a fist. $12 million. "I don't know what you're talking about," David said. "Don't lie to me." Volkov's voice cracked like a whip. "You were the only one who knew the account numbers, the only one with access. And now the money is gone. Where is it?" "I told you I don't know." Volkov pulled out a gun, walked to Emily, pressed the barrel against her head. Emily's eyes went wide with terror. "Tell me or she dies. I count to 5. 1. "I don't have it," David shouted. 2. "Please, I'm telling the truth. 3. "David, just tell him," I screamed. "I can't tell him what I don't know. I didn't take the money." 4. "Wait!" A voice cut through the tension. Agent Rodriguez stepped out from behind a crate, gun drawn. "He's telling the truth, Volkov. He doesn't have your money." Everyone froze. Volkov's gun stayed pressed against Emily's head, but his eyes shifted to Rodriguez. "Agent Rodriguez," Volkov said slowly, What a surprise. Come to arrest me. Come to end this. Lower your weapon. I don't think so. You see, I know something you don't know, something your FBI doesn't know. Volkov smiled. Daniel Marks didn't take my money, but his wife did. The world tilted. Everyone looked at me. David, Sarah, Rodriguez, all staring like I'd grown a second head. That's insane, I said. I don't have any money. Don't you? Volkov pulled out a phone, showed me a screen. Bank transactions, dates, account numbers. 8 months ago, $12 million was transferred from my account to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. The account is in your name, Linda Harrison. That's impossible. I would never. The transfer was made from your husband's laptop, from your home, while he was supposedly at work. Volkov's smile widened. Tell me, Mrs. Harrison, where were you on March 15th at 2:37 in the afternoon? March 15th. I tried to remember. 8 months ago. What had I been doing? I don't remember. Home, probably. I'm always home. Exactly. Home, alone, with access to your husband's laptop. I don't even know his password. Don't you? Volkov pulled up another image, a piece of paper, David's handwriting, a list of passwords. We found this in your nightstand. Your husband wrote down all his passwords. How convenient. I looked at David. He had gone pale. Linda, did you? No, of course not. I've never seen that paper before. Someone put it there, Sarah said. Someone's framing Mom. Or, Volkov said, she's lying, like her husband lies, like everyone in this family lies. He pressed the gun harder against Emily's head. Tell me where my money is, or your daughter dies. I won't ask again. I don't have it. My voice broke. I swear on my life I don't have it. Then you're useless to me. Volkov's finger tightened on the trigger. Wait. Another voice. Margaret stepped out from behind another crate. Alive. Here. How was she here? Margaret. I couldn't process it. What are you doing? I have the money, Margaret said quietly. I took it. The silence was absolute. Even Volkov looked stunned. You... David stared at her. Why, because I was tired of being used, tired of being a pawn in your FBI games. You used me to get to Volkov, used me like I was nothing. Margaret's voice was bitter. So I used you back. I found your laptop password, found your files, found everything, and I took the money. Consider it payment for 7 years of my life. Where is it? Volkov demanded. Safe. Somewhere you'll never find it. I will kill everyone in this room. No, you won't, because the moment you do, an email goes out to every federal agency in the country, every detail of your organization, every name, every account, everything. Margaret held up her phone. I have it all. Kill me and you lose everything. Volkov's jaw clenched. You're bluffing. Try me. For 10 seconds, nobody moved. Nobody breathed. We all stood frozen in a tableau of guns and threats and desperate gambles. Then Volkov laughed, actually laughed. You are smarter than I thought, Margaret. Smarter than your FBI boyfriend. He looked at David. She played you. Played all of us. Margaret, what are you doing? I asked. You're working with him. I'm working for myself. For the first time in my life, I'm not someone's victim, not someone's pawn. I'm in control. She looked at Volkov. Here's my offer. I give you back the money. You let these people go. Everyone walks away alive. And you... What do you get? 10%, 1.2 million. That's my fee. Volkov considered. And the information, the email. Deleted, once I confirm the family is safe. How do I know you'll keep your word? How do I know you'll keep yours? We don't. That's what makes it interesting. Margaret walked toward him fearless. But we both know the alternative. You kill everyone here, you lose the money and go to prison. I die and you still go to prison. Or we make a deal and everyone gets what they want. Not everyone, Emily said through her gag. She had worked it loose. You still destroyed our family. You still lied to everyone. I did what I had to do to survive, Margaret said without looking at her. You'd do the same if you were in my position. I'd never be in your position because I have integrity. Integrity doesn't pay the bills, sweetie. Enough, Volkov said. I accept your terms. Give me the account information. Let them go first. You really think I'm that stupid? I think you're that smart. You know if you kill them now, you'll never see that money. Margaret pulled out a piece of paper. Account number, transfer codes, everything you need. But first, untie them. Volkov nodded to his men. They moved toward Emily and Tom, cutting their zip ties. Emily stumbled forward, and I caught her, held her tight. "Mom," she sobbed. "Mom, I was so scared." "I know, baby. I know. It's over now." But it wasn't over. Volkov's man picked up one of the twins from the playpen. The little boy stirred, whimpered. "Put him down." Tom said, his voice dangerous. "When we have the money," the man said. Margaret handed the paper to Volkov. He pulled out his phone, started entering numbers. We all waited. Time stretched like taffy. Finally, his phone dinged. "It's there," he said, surprise in his voice. "All of it." "Then we're done. Let the baby go." Volkov nodded. The man put the twin back in the playpen. Tom rushed over, scooped up both boys, held them close. "Now," Margaret said, "we all walk out of here, together, and we never see each other again." "Agreed," Volkov said. We started toward the exit. David had his arm around me. Sarah had Emily. Tom carried the twins. We moved as a unit, expecting gunfire at any moment, expecting this to be a trap. But we made it to the loading bay, made it outside. The night air tasted like freedom. "Wait," Rodriguez's voice stopped us. "You're all under arrest." "What?" David turned. "Rodriguez, you said—" "I said I'd help you." "I did, but you're still a witness in a federal investigation. You're all coming with me." Rodriguez looked at Volkov, who was already getting into a car. "And you, stop right there." Volkov didn't stop. Got in his car, started the engine. But before he could drive away, the parking lot flooded with light. FBI vehicles, dozens of them, surrounding us, surrounding Volkov, surrounding everyone. "Nobody move." Agents poured out, weapons drawn. "FBI, hands up." We raised our hands. Volkov's men raised theirs. Even Margaret raised hers, though she was smiling. "You called them," Volkov said to Rodriguez. "You planned this." "Of course I did. You think I'd let you drive away with $12 million in stolen money?" Rodriguez approached him. "Alexei Volkov, you're under arrest for money laundering, racketeering, kidnapping, and about 40 other charges I'll think of later." Volkov was cuffed, led away. His men were cuffed. All of them arrested in a matter of minutes. "What about her?" I asked, pointing at Margaret. "She stole the money too." "Actually," an older agent said, stepping forward, "she didn't. The money was never moved. It was always in Volkov's account." "But he said—" "What we told her to say. Margaret's been working with us for 3 months, ever since she found those fake passports and called us." The agent looked at Margaret. "She's the reason we knew about the 12 million. The reason we could trace it. The reason we got all of you out alive." I stared at Margaret. "You were undercover too." "Not exactly. I was just a woman scorned who wanted revenge." Margaret looked at David. "I really did think we were getting married. And when I found out about Linda, I wanted to destroy you. But the FBI offered me a better deal. Help them take down Volkov, and they'd give me immunity for anything you'd gotten me involved in. So I helped." "The fake account in my name," I asked, "never existed. We created fake documents to make Volkov think it was real, made him think you were the thief, gave him a reason to bring everyone here. So this was all a setup. From the moment you walked into that office building and found out about Margaret, we knew Volkov had people watching, knew he'd make a move. We just had to wait for him to reveal himself." Rodriguez looked at David. "Though you going rogue and escaping wasn't part of the plan." "I thought she was dirty," David said, nodding at Margaret. "Thought she was really working for Volkov. I couldn't risk it." "Well, your lack of faith almost got everyone killed, but it worked out." Rodriguez turned to me. "Mrs. Harrison, I'm sorry for what you've been through. Sorry for the lies. Sorry for everything." "Sorry doesn't fix my marriage," I said quietly. Sorry doesn't give me back the 32 years I thought were real. No, it doesn't. Rodriguez gestured to the other agents. Take statements from everyone. Then get them somewhere safe. Somewhere they can actually rest. We spent the next 3 hours giving statements, telling our stories, watching the sun come up over the Burlington waterfront, while FBI agents typed everything into laptops and asked the same questions 17 different ways. Finally, they let us go, put us up in a hotel, real rooms this time, not a safe house, with room service and soft beds and doors that locked from the inside. Emily and Tom took the twins to their room. Sarah went to hers, promising to call Mark, and I was left alone with David in a room that smelled like lemon cleaner and old carpet. So, I said, sitting on the edge of the bed, Daniel Marks. Linda Harrison, he replied, sitting next to me, not too close, giving me space. What happens now? I don't know. The FBI will want me to testify. Could take months, maybe years. That's not what I mean. What happens with us? He was quiet for a long time. Then, what do you want to happen? I thought about it. Really thought about it. This man had lied to me for 8 years, had built an entire fake life, had put our daughters in danger, had made me question my sanity, my judgment, my worth. But he had also protected us, had risked his life, had turned himself in to Volkov to save Emily, had held my hand in the car and told me the truth when truth was the hardest thing to give. I don't know, I said honestly. I don't know if I can forgive you. Don't know if I can trust you again. Don't know if we can fix this. I understand. But I don't know if I can walk away either. 32 years, 2 daughters, 4 grandchildren, a life. Even if half of it was a lie, the other half was real. Our girls are real. Our love in the beginning was real. It's still real, David said quietly. At least for me. I never stopped loving you, Linda. Not for one day, not for 1 second. How do I know that's not another lie? You don't. You just have to decide if you want to try to believe me. I looked at him, at this stranger, at this husband, at this complicated, flawed, lying, heroic man I had built a life with. I need time, I said finally. I need space. I need to figure out who I am without you, without the lies, without any of it. I'll give you whatever you need. Even if what I need is a divorce. He flinched but nodded. Even that. If that's what you need to heal, I'll sign the papers. No fight, no lawyers, just let me keep seeing the girls and the grandbabies, please. They're your daughters too. Of course you can see them. I stood up, walked to the window. Outside, Burlington was waking up. People going to work, living normal lives. I wanted to be one of them, wanted to be normal again. But I need you to move out. When we get home, I need you to find somewhere else to live. Just for a while. Just until I figure things out. Okay. And I want you to go to therapy. Real therapy. For the lying. For the undercover work. For whatever made you think it was okay to live a double life for 8 years. I'll go. I should have gone years ago. And I'm going too, because I need to figure out how I missed all the signs, how I was so blind, how I let myself be manipulated. You weren't manipulated. I was good at lying, too good. That's what worries me. If you were that good, how do I know you're not still lying? How do I ever trust anything you say? He stood, walked over to me, stopped just far enough away that we weren't touching. You don't. That's the truth. You don't know. You just have to decide if you want to try to find out, if you want to rebuild what we had, if you want to give me the chance to spend the rest of my life proving that I can be honest, that I can be worthy of you. I looked into his eyes, saw the truth there, or what looked like truth, but I'd seen what looked like truth before, and it had been lies. I don't know if I can do that, I whispered. Then don't. Not yet. Just don't give up on us completely. Not yet. Give me 6 months. 6 months to show you I can change, that I can be the man you thought you married, and if after 6 months you still can't trust me, I'll sign whatever papers you want. I'll walk away. I'll let you go. 6 months. It seemed impossibly long and impossibly short at the same time. I'll think about it, I said. "That's all I can ask." We stood there in silence, two people who had spent 32 years together and didn't know each other at all. Two people trying to figure out if love was enough to overcome betrayal, if trust could be rebuilt after being shattered so completely. I didn't have the answers, didn't know if I ever would, but I knew one thing. I was stronger than I thought, braver than I knew. I had survived this nightmare, had faced down Russian mobsters, had protected my daughters, had made impossible choices and lived through impossible situations. Linda Harrison, devoted wife, was gone. But someone new had taken her place, someone who knew her own worth, someone who wouldn't settle for lies, someone who demanded truth even when truth was hard. 3 months later, I stood in my kitchen making coffee. David's coffee maker, the expensive one he'd loved, was gone, donated to Goodwill along with half his clothes and most of his things. The house felt emptier, quieter, mine. My phone rang. Sarah. "Hey, Mom, how are you feeling?" "Good, better, getting there." "Emily and I were thinking about coming over for lunch, bringing the kids." "That sounds perfect. Should we invite Dad?" I thought about it. David had moved to an apartment across town, went to therapy twice a week, called me every Sunday just to check in, never asking for more than I could give. He was trying, really trying. "Sure," I said. "Invite him, but just for lunch, not to stay." "Okay, see you at noon. Love you." "Love you too." I hung up and looked around my kitchen, my house, my life. It wasn't the life I'd planned, wasn't the life I'd thought I was living, but it was real, honest, mine. The doorbell rang. I opened it to find Margaret standing there looking nervous. "Linda, I hope it's okay that I came by." "Margaret, this is a surprise." "I know, I wanted to apologize. For everything. I know I played my part in destroying your marriage, even if I didn't mean to. Even if I was being used, too." I looked at this woman, my husband's fake fiancée, the woman who had helped take down a criminal empire, who had been brave enough to stand up to Volkov, who had been hurt by David's lies just like I had. "Come in," I said. "I just made coffee." She smiled, relieved. "Thank you." We sat at my kitchen table, two women who had loved the same man for different reasons, who had both been betrayed, who had both survived. "So what are you doing now?" I asked. "FBI offered me a job, consultant work, helping with undercover operations. Apparently I'm good at playing a part. Are you taking it? I don't know. Part of me wants to. Part of me wants to move to Montana and never see another FBI agent again." I laughed. Actually laughed. I know that feeling. "Do you think you'll take him back, David?" "I don't know. Some days I think maybe. Other days I think I'm crazy for even considering it." "What would you do?" Margaret thought about it. "Honestly, I don't know. But I think you'll figure it out. You're stronger than you think, Linda. Stronger than I am. You survived 32 years of lies and came out the other side. That takes real strength." "So did you. You turned the tables on everyone." "We're survivors," Margaret said, raising her coffee cup. "Both of us." "Two surviving," I toasted. Our cups clinked together. Two women. Two survivors. Two people rebuilding their lives from the wreckage of lies. And in that moment, I knew the truth. I didn't know if I'd take David back. Didn't know if I'd ever trust him again. Didn't know what my future looked like. But I knew I would survive. Would thrive, would build a life worth living with or without him. Because I wasn't just David Harrison's wife anymore. I wasn't just Linda, the woman who got betrayed. I was Linda Harrison, survivor. Linda Harrison, the woman who faced down mobsters and came out alive. Linda Harrison, who had lost everything and found herself in the process. And that was enough, more than enough. That was everything.